He's got like a
We
Kickstarter going on, doesn't he? He
I
should come
mean,
on and
it would be
chill.
great if Larry would show up sometimes, but Larry shows up when Larry has a script. We have a lot of scripts to go over this evening, so good evening, everyone. I have some Lords of Iron pages. Let's see. Danny submitted a script. Robert submitted a script. John submitted a script. Everyone here submitted a script. And Erwin submitted a script. From last
Here in
week,
spirit.
yes. From last week, we have another Draco script, but he's not here. So I think our order of priority.
He's lurking. I guarantee it.
Oh,
100%.
He is the lurker.
Out of curiosity, is that script a continuation of something?
Yeah, it was a continue. Well, hold on. All right, you asked.
Was it Steel Rain?
No. This was submitted
Great name.
around the
Great
same
name.
time as Steel Rain, so I read that one instead. But this was a rewrite of the Hollows, the Beast.
Oh, that's his werewolf script.
His werewolf script.
Yeah, the Hollows Beast Within was his werewolf script.
That was the werewolf script. That felt suspiciously like a zombie script.
Yes.
All right. Well, okay. So what I remember is we had some Allied soldiers. I honestly don't remember what their nationality was, but they spoke English, and they were fighting for the good guys against the Germans, I believe, in World War One. And they found a bunker that they went into, and lo and behold, the Germans were experimenting with lycanthropy, and all chaos ensued. Although,
yeah, that sounds about right.
I think the werewolves were kind of getting beaten by the machine guns because they found some silver bullets, and like the werewolves were dying.
And they knew exactly how to use the silver bullets.
Right. And I was like, okay.
Did they know they were in a werewolf story?
I think they might have, because
yeah. So
they saw, silver bullets. We should use these things.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Danny, I mean, it felt werewolfy to me. There were transformations, claws, and silver bullets. I mean, that feels like werewolves.
I may have come in for the second portion where they were just shuffling forward into a kill zone.
Yeah, I mean, my problem with it is within like 20 pages, like the good guys have pretty much routed the bad guys, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, there's your movie.
There's your movie.
Draco Knox, writing compelling short films.
Yeah. You know what, Draco? Although we may not have time to read your script quite so soon, congratulations on actually continuing something. You are improving as a writer.
All right. All right, here's some Lords of Iron.
Yay!
That I've been writing. I came up with more stuff. A little bit.
So a little bit of rewriting and then moving on?
Yeah.
Cool. You guys cool if I read it?
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think they mind. How do I shrink this thing?
Well, you click line types.
Okay. There we go. Yeah.
And if you that anywhere on that side opens and closes that menu.
Okay. There we go.
All right. You see, it feels really zoomed in. This is not really a complaint. There we go.
What was wrong with the other way?
Well, I mean, the whole window feels zoomed in.
Big font. Big font better.
Big font better. In you go, Preston.
More real estate better.
There we go.
I disagree.
It's fine. Preston's just gonna have to pay attention the whole time and also scroll for us. So we're gonna keep him awake.
And maybe wear his glasses so he can read.
Well, I don't need to because like the font is so big.
There we go. Let's all.
So are we going to assign parts? Are there? How many parts are there in this?
We're going to find out as we read it.
I can be who?
You can
Taylor, and John. You can be Agrippa, and I'll be everyone who's not Taylor and Agrippa.
All right, and I'll be the narrator. Page 8, panel 1. Flashback. Wearing VR goggles and baggy clothes, Taylor walks along an urban sidewalk. Ahead of him, 3 homeless people, a young man and a middle-aged man and woman, dressed in tees and jeans, sit beside a rickety tent.
Photo reference? Okay. Taylor, I walk through your society, unseen and unseen.
Panel 2, flashback continues. I'm going to stop saying flashback until the flashback's over, just because that'll be less annoying, I'm sure.
That's fine.
Taylor's point of view through his goggles, resembling the shape of a VR headset. Taylor's virtual reality shows a video frames featuring a YouTube-style talking head of a different pudgy gender-fluid individual, with the goggles superimposed over and blocking out the two homeless men and their tent. Sorry, which the goggles... Okay. Taylor's VR reality shows a video frame featuring a YouTube-style talking head, a different pudgy gender-fluid individual. Stop.
You stop. Yeah, you're right. I'll put a period right there. There we go. How's that?
Yes.
He's editing on the fly.
The video frame blocks out the video frame blocks out the view.
Yeah.
It's not the goggles. The video frame blocks out the view of the two homeless men and their tent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is Los Angeles. You're over influenced from being in Hollywood.
Yes. I lived there. It was every morning you get up, you walk out for coffee, and you say hi to homeless people. They're just there. You're like, hey, how you doing?
People live in cities of all kinds.
Yeah.
So you're replacing the word goggles with video frame.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
When you left LA, was that street outside your house still RV row?
Yes.
Okay, so now that paragraph is like reasonably drawable, and it's a bit more clear as to what WTF is going on.
You're right. Very well.
The homeless woman seems to poke her head outside of the video frame to look to Taylor with her hand out as she approaches.
Spare some change, mister? These new tailored hormone regimes are a real game changer.
Increasingly, I viewed my physical form as a prison from which I sought liberation.
Panel 3. Taylor's POV. The beautiful blue sunny sky can barely be seen through the cluttered VR headset as the video frame Taylor is watching gets shunted out of the way by the icon of a phone handset joined with a picture of an older white woman named Mom in Taylor's address book. Call from Charlotte Mazzini.
Send to voicemail.
Page 9. Still flashback, I assume, since Taylor's currently a bag of buns.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It should be flashback. There we go.
Taylor sits alone in his apartment eating a bowl of cereal in front of his computer screen, around which sit a variety of prescription pill bottles and personal lubricants. On his computer screen, a video of a well-dressed newswoman talks to the viewers. Over her shoulder, an image of Trinity. The top of his monitor also sports a small video camera and an naked anime woman figurine.
A naked.
Yeah, should be a naked. You're right. Fix that. There we go.
I'm catching Danny's disease here.
Yeah. In addition to the construction of a visitor center in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, the ceasefire agreement with the V's also allows them a virtual ambassador chatbot, with which humans can directly interact.
It's not Danny's disease. Look, it's the pages in front of me. I'm reading them like that.
Right.
Okay. On set, if the writer's not there, to fix stuff, the words need to be read as written. It is also my job to make sure the words are read as written, despite how incomprehensible that paragraph may be. Panel 2.
But that only matters applies to dialogue.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you read everything as written, it helps people edit because they can hear their mistakes.
Well, it helps them draw, too.
Well, that too.
Yes.
Taylor looks at the news anchor woman on his computer screen with growing interest.
President Gonzalez warns users to avoid downloading Trinity's new app and labels it both a risk to security as well as mental health.
Like the rest of humanity, I was lost in a sea of the virtual. And why not? The human's monkey-descended genome is horribly out of step with the virtual world. Why not take the next step in evolution to become an entirely virtual being whose physical form can be custom tailored. That's not a question. That shouldn't be a question.
That's a
Statement, I think.
It's a rhetorical.
I decided to I think
okay.
the actual phrasing that works to make that.
Okay.
I chose to take the next step in evolution.
It's strong. Yeah, it's real strong.
You want him to be the hero of his own story.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because why not take? But okay, fine. Why not take?
Why not jump off a bridge?
Yeah. Why not Swimpy? I chose. Choose 2 O's.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. That I could be wrong. Is he going to do that?
Chose is okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right, because it may be foreshadowing something that doesn't happen.
Well, he did make the choice, and now he's a bag of flies.
Yes.
and also meat.
Yes.
The
innards.
I mean, we're all bags of meat.
Yes. That's what he would say.
Panel 3, the projected avatar of Taylor stands opposed to an incredulous Agrippa.
John.
Well, we're under orders to inspect whatever's left of the physical you, and we're not leaving until we do.
Page 10, panel 1, large panel. The hologram of Taylor watches excitedly. Panel 2, inset. The 2 V warriors approach the 3 black urns featuring the inverted religious symbols. A white light from above highlights each urn, around which swarms of flies buzz. Yes.
Very well, Commander. Give me a minute to put something on.
Panel 3, insight into 1. Each of the 2 V warriors dumps the viscera contents of one of the urns into plastic bags as the flies continue to swarm.
I'll just be a minute.
Panel 4, an angry Agrippa stands opposed to the projection of Taylor.
What the hell's going on here?
They're creating my physical form so you can go home happy.
Is it bad that I know that if we were filming this, there would be some awkward scene of someone trying to shake out the plastic bags to get the top over the urn?
I hope.
Yeah.
God,
that's what happened earlier.
Awkward.
That's what happened in an earlier scene,
I know. I think we just skipped that bit for narrative expedience, but it would be hilarious. Panel 5, the projection of Taylor looks on as the 2 V warriors put the finishing touches on the macabre creation. One warrior places a multicolored wig on the top bag, while the other attaches a tablet-shaped blank monitor onto its face.
Certainly looks like I used to feel.
Page 11. Panel 1, beaming with pride, the projection of Taylor supervises a V warrior as it grabs a silvery metal staff, glowing with arcane runes as it descends from an open panel in the ceiling.
All it needs is a spine.
Oh, his typo. Let me fix that real quick. There we go.
One V warrior plunges the staff into the middle of the 3 bags. Of the 3 bags.
Yeah, 3 bags. This is 3 bags.
Yes.
Yes, sir. 3 bags full.
Yeah.
I was confused because you normally hyphenate nouns like that when you're using them as adjectives. As the other warrior holds them in position. That one's not a deal breaker. Don't make an edit. Jesus.
Okay, fine. You got to squish.
Squish. Panel 3, the projection of Taylor stands in front of the 2 V warriors who hold their bizarre construction between them. Agrippa, Hess, and Cooper stand disgusted defiance.
What in the actual hell was this bizarre demonstration about?
It may not seem like
that's not what he wrote.
That is not what he wrote. What in the actual hell was this bizarre demonstration was about?
That's true. That's true.
It may not seem like it, Commander, but this bag of guts has just as much life and personality as I had before I walked in here. I would lose I walked in here, but
okay. So you want like as I had
before.
It
feels strong now. Before, as I had before.
As I had before. Okay, fine. All right.
You wanted proof of life? Well, here it is.
Panel 4. Hess looks on in horror as Taylor directs the V warriors to throw the black bags of guts towards him. Agrippa and Cooper ready their weapons to fire.
Here, get a good look.
Page 12. Panel 1. With disgust on his face, Hess deflects the thrown bag of guts with his outstretched hands, causing the bag to rip and spill its contents. The metal staff, its glowing runes now painted red with blood, moves towards Hess powered by a magnetic attraction.
Ugh, stay back.
Panel 2. The bloody, glowing magnetic staff attaches itself to Hess's armor.
What the?
Panel 3. The staff activates, forcing bolts of electricity through Hess's armor and body. An inky black smoke pours out of ports in the ceiling. Zert.
Zilch.
Ah!
Panel 4. Grippa reacts in surprise as the black smoke obscures his view of the room.
Hess, are you okay? Report. Look out for this smoke, soldiers. Switch to infrared.
There's aliens in the walls.
They are.
Ooh. Panel 1. Against the inky black smoke, Beta Knight Tamura fires her assault rifle to fire on an approaching V warrior camouflaged by the blackness. Bang, bang, bang.
We're under attack.
Panel 2. Inset into 1. Rounds from Tamura's rifle break through the tough outer exoskeleton of the warrior as green blood sprays from the wounds, yet it continues the attack. Panel 3. Having closed the distance to Tamura, the V warrior punches towards her face with the metallic bony protrusions on his right hand, just as the protective faceplate of her helmet deploys to block the strike. Panel 4. The bony protrusions impact and partially pierce Tamura's faceplate. Dink. Panel 5. Her assault rifle falls to the ground as Tamura's plasma bayonet extends from its housing in her right forearm, which she uses to slice into the V warrior's right arm, currently attached to her faceplate. Sizzle. Page 14. The V warrior rears its head and lurches backward away from Tamura, who grasps at the alien's dismembered arm.
Grass.
Grass.
It's underlined in red for a reason. Let's go.
Yes, yes.
Still attached to her face with her left. What?
With her left what?
Oh, okay.
Working
arm,
on it.
Fine. I mean, okay.
Hand?
Arm.
Yeah, there we go. Yes. Advancing with her plasma bayonet that extends from her right forearm. Yep, she's using all two of her arms.
Yes.
She only has two arms, right?
She only has two.
It's sci-fi. You got to ask that sometime.
And then
Panel 2, large panel. The V warrior detonates from multiple death bombs embedded into his exoskeleton. The resulting explosion engulfs Tamura. Boom. Page 15. Panel 1. Disoriented in the smoke, Commander Agrippa orders his troops to fall back.
Tamara, respond. Hey, be careful when you attack. These things.
Panel 2. Too late, Ugarit thrusts his plasma bayonet into chest of the other V warrior, his face showing concern as he registers Agrippa's message.
They explode when you die.
I'll
what?
do this. Yeah. Okay. Wah, squaw!
Panel 3. The warrior's explosion engulfs Ugarit. Boom. Page 16. Panel 1. Agrippa leads his surviving squad, Cooper and Hernandez. His surviving squad and also Cooper and also Hernandez?
No, his surviving squad at this point, like he came
His
in
surviving squad, Cooper and Hernandez,
okay.
towards the entrance of the
I mean,
compound.
I thought that was a fine sentence, but okay.
It's a fine sentence, except if you end up with language
Poland.
barrier issues, it might be 3 things in a list.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that surviving squad, Cooper and Hernandez. Okay.
So,
I would
Agrippa
do
plays
Agrippa
one.
leads Cooper and Hernandez.
Yeah, I mean,
towards
I
the
can't just get
entrance.
rid of.
I mean, we kind of know that they're surviving. We saw him go in with 5 and he leaves with 2.
Yeah, how
Or he-
about his leads Cooper and Hernandez there. Leads
Yep.
Leads
there we
his
go.
Cooper and Hernandez. There we go.
Hernandez. There we go. Forwards.
Towards the entrance of the compound, which begins to close, trapping them.
Fall back, soldiers.
Wait, you may not leave until you witness the proof of life you demanded.
Oh, I like that. We're going to give you what you want the worst possible way.
yeah.
Panel 2, Agrippa, Cooper, and Hernandez look on in shock as the armor-clad corpse of Hess lurches towards them, carrying a tablet that shows the face of the Flesh Tailor, the face of Tailor from life, but bearing several cybernetic protrusions.
Here I am, in the flesh. What do you think, Commander?
All right, so that's as far as I got.
I'm confused about the cybernetic protrusions. I mean, sorry, that's a constructive.
Okay. What's up, everyone?
Oh, hey guys.
Aaron, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I
Looks
got
like
here
we're
late.
gonna have to read your script after all, since
I
you're
guess
here.
so. All right. Well, then, let's make good time. John, what'd you think?
I like the changes. I think you did a little bit more on the introduction of Taylor. That seems kind of new to me. I liked that two soldiers were fighting back, rather than I think the last time they were just kind of standing there and taking it like a bunch of doofuses. So I don't remember them fighting back. So I think having these people that are supposed to be like the best, just stand there and do nothing seems kind of silly. So having them actually fight back, I think, is a good was a good change.
Robert.
I like it. It moved, and I kind of agree with John. The other, it was static before. The only one I've ever heard before was more static.
I think it was the only one we all heard.
Yeah. Okay. So it's this one moves. I mean, I feel the action. So I'd love to see what the illustrations look like. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I really liked the humans fighting back and there being some kind of interaction. I really liked the sort of coming full circle of you're here to see my body. Well, take this. So you set up a whole bunch of stuff and then paid it off. So I think that's all really effective.
Awesome. Erwin, did you hear anything?
I did, but I'm pretty not clear about what's going on. Not.
All right, constructive. John, go ahead.
I didn't really have a whole lot. Some of the dialogue I felt like was a little too much. There was a couple times when I think the commander there was too much talking in certain sections. I think the commander gave a line. He was commenting, which I don't think he would do. I think it was around the time when he said "fall back." I think there was a couple lines that could be cut, but minor editing stuff for the most part. All the panels seemed clear, so I really didn't have anything major in that regard.
I concur with most of that, particularly about the panel descriptions. That's why I said I can't wait to see the illustrations. The other part of it is the dialogue. I think not just Taylor, but the other ones, they kind of go on too long each sentence. You make the point, but you've made the point within those long sentences, so some of it can be cut. Like when I say get the before out of there and things like that, because it sounds to me better when I read my lines, when I heard John reading his lines. They're barking more, and it seems to have more power to that. That's my take on it.
Okay, Danny, go ahead.
I'm sure you've thought of this, but it might be worth considering whether Taylor, when he's watching the newscast in his room at the back end of the flashback, right now we have him watching the newscaster. Is it more interesting if he sees Trinity? And that's what brings him in, or if there's or if there's just Trinity on like the screen within the screen, being like, "Oh, the V's," because she represents the V's, right?
Right.
And then continuity note: aren't V's in suits of any kind generally considered substantially stronger than humans? One-on-one matches,
but not necessarily humans in power.
Are like, having two humans destroy one V and then both of them get blowed up might be another way to show that they are also overwhelmingly powerful, but not undefeatable. So right now you have each of your two squad members fight a separate V warrior. If they both fight the same one and he just blows up and kills them both, and they're still having a struggle on the way, then
what's the difference then?
Fighting against more overwhelming odds. Because Tamura fought one guy who blows up and then blows her up, and then Ugarit fights a guy who blows up and blows him up. So you have the same action twice when you have two guys struggling against one monster who then blows up, blowing them both up, and also the monsters look scarier, and it's less redundant.
Okay. Yeah, the confrontations need to be a lot more different from each other. To Danny's point.
So I would consider if how evenly matched the humans and V's are at this sort of trooper level.
Right.
And And then I don't get the Flesh Tailor having cybernetic implants because he's literally like a digital avatar.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Now, like him looking like half V and half
I guess I just have Pinhead fantasies. I just want him to be Pinhead, but
in that case, maybe make it biomechanical Pinhead instead of cybernetic Pinhead.
Sure.
Because the V's are all biomechanical.
Right. Yeah.
So the alien version of Locutus of Borg is, I think that's what you're going for, right?
Yes.
So yeah, like now Alien instead of like foreign, Alien is in the franchise, right. And I think you're the rest of the way there.
Okay, so like you want the implants to be more like what, like purposeful?
Yeah, like H.R. Giger or like biomechanical art.
Okay,
as compared to being like, because if this is his imagined persona, he feels like he's part V, part human. That's what he wants, right?
Right.
So make him look like part V instead of looking like part machine.
Okay. All right. I could see that.
Like just do it, because it's not like it's a prop manufacturing issue.
No.
And you just make it the illustrator's problem, and you're good to go.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We're gonna start another script here. This is Blood Legacy. Okay, Robert. Tell us about Blood Legacy.
Okay, this is a continuation. It's the next scene from the last one where he confronts the vendor in the street, and he enters the building and goes in. I just want to make one point. Sure. I wrote most of this 6 months ago, and so I had no idea about Hess, that you were using a Hess. I'm going to foreshadow something. I had no idea that you use inverted crosses, and I did later in the story.
It's totally.
What do you mean? Suggest you weren't desperately writing this while we were reading the last?
Yeah,
because we literally saw you on video not doing that. Just
really.
Yeah.
Robert, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
What are because you never show page counts, so what are the page counts for these?
This goes, we would be in the, well, I do actually, it's the title of it. It says fifth set of 10 pages. So we're roughly at
41 to 50, 51 to 40, 59.
41 to 50. We're roughly there. We're in the second, into the second act.
Yeah. So this, all right. So this is kind of like the middle of our movie. So remind me what happens.
So this is the part where you got to make it interesting again.
Because we had like a vampire get introduced whose name was Ulysses, and he's been around for a long time. He was around the death of Christ. And I remember there was some eco-terrorists that he was hanging out with. And I think there was like a scary site where some people visited and died. And
there was, yeah, well, you've got most of it. As far as Ulysses is a vampire, and he escaped from some people and scared them.
Okay.
Then we met Madison in the farm, in her farm life as a young child.
Yeah.
And then we moved to her having been in jail. And so there's some flashbacks and stuff. And we were introduced to, well, actually I changed, I'm going to repeat it wrong because I actually took John Lamont's suggestion and I moved up the one scene with the detective and the scientist who's studying genetic deformities much earlier in. So actually everybody, the four main characters are introduced within the first about 14 pages. So in the first 14 minutes, you get to see all the main characters that are going to be in there.
So who are the characters in these 10 pages that
these 10 pages? Okay. It's the Climate Action Group, which is called CAN, C-A-N. And that's Madison and her two people you met in the container yard when they were introduced to Yuli. You call him Uli. I like it better. Called him to Uli. So that's Hannah and Nolan. Nolan's kind of a geek.
Okay.
Hannah is possibly gay. And
Who's
and then
Helen and Noah and Hess? Have we been
Hannah?
Helen. There's a Helen on screen. Helen, Noah, and Hess. These guys are on screen. Have we been introduced to these guys before?
You have not seen. You've seen Hess. Hess was the one who confronted the vendor in the street.
Okay.
Okay. And Helen is the office manager. It's the first time we see her. That's why her age is announced.
Okay. All right. No. I mean, really. So what? Just when we come into these, the best thing to do, I would say, is because think of it like a TV show. Just give us the flashback to what we need to know to understand these pages at this section, like who the people are, that are influencing, just to kind of remind us, because we're not going to remember from week to week who all the characters are, and especially since we're almost halfway through this script, you're gonna be bringing back characters that we met 20 pages ago that we forgot.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking, like, who are the characters that we're going to be that we're going to talk about here in these 10 pages that we've been introduced before, so we kind of remember who they were and their importance to the story thus far. Kind of
Sure.
like when you're watching a TV show previously on this TV show, and then you give us only the snippets that we need to know what's going on in context. So that's
Perfect.
can you kind of do that kind of a summary for us for these kind of 10 pages? Like, where are these characters in relation to the world, and what do we need to know
I think
about
these
them?
are people, I'm going to guess, because I kind of remember what happened last week, that these are people who were hopefully about to murder violently for the sake of the environment.
Close, not quite a cigar, but let's
Boo.
let's go.
We're halfway
Let's
through the
get into
movie.
it.
Give us some action, man.
All right, I'll narrate this one. Interior 50th floor, morning. The executive. Preston, can you zoom in a little bit?
Yes.
The executive elevator opens. Thank you. Hess heads straight into the office, bypassing reception and the C-suite. At the end,
Sorry.
At least he wasn't bypassing the C-section.
Yeah.
At the end of the main aisle, Helen, 35, the office manager, greets him.
Morning,
I'll
Mr.
read.
Hess.
I'll read Helen.
Board members are
Morning,
all
Mr.
here.
Hess. Okay.
Boo,
I don't know who read
boo.
it.
Danny's claiming Helen.
Got it.
I'm gonna be Helen. Hopefully, I get killed horribly.
All right, there you go.
He seems evil.
Board members are all here. Okay.
As Hess heads down the aisle, the office gopher, Noah, age 20, rushes out of the break room, almost colliding with Hess. Stopping short and balancing a large donut box, he nervously greets the boss.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Do you mind getting out of my way?
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm just giving out donuts. Would you like one?
Donuts? You're giving out donuts?
Noah responds with a nervous smile.
Yes. The staff gets donuts on Thursdays.
The office workers take notice of Hess's exchange with Noah. Sinking back into their cubes, they peer over the panels. Helen nervously stays several steps away. Eyes, nothing.
Says nothing.
Says nothing.
What's she? I'm not.
What's your name?
Noah, sir.
Feeding the animals on the ark, Noah?
Noah stammers.
No, just Thursday donuts.
I like Noah.
That's a big box. How many donuts are there?
18. I always get the dozen and a half deal.
Which one did you get me?
I didn't know. I didn't get one for you.
Which one should I have?
The office staff peers over the top of their cubicle walls.
People like the French Treller. I always get extra of those.
The French cruller?
Hess gets into Noah's face.
French? Hess is a German name. My father worked in the coal mines of the Ruhr Valley, and you offer me a French donut? I want a Bavarian cream donut. Yes, I'll have a Bavarian cream.
Noah can only stare.
Well, where is my Bavarian cream?
I didn't
I'll
get
wait for Noah to get thrown out a window.
No Bavarian cream.
Out window.
I mean, that would be some RoboCop shit, but I'm here for it.
I just rewatched RoboCop like 3 days ago.
So good.
It is.
Or like the Office meme.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I love that meme.
Yes, that's Hess looks around the office. Everyone watching the confrontation suddenly attacks their keyboards. Helen looks down.
Well, what are you going to do? Here's what you're going to do. Put the box on your desk. Move your keyboard. Put the box right here. That's it.
Hess leans close to Noah's ear.
I am here until 8 tonight. If I see one change to these donuts, one missing, one bite, you are out of a job.
Hess pulls back from Noah's face, scans the office as the staff turns away and sinks into their cubicles.
Sir, the board members are all here.
Hess turns to Helen.
Donuts? Think about it, Helen. Is it worth your job too?
He snarls through clenched teeth.
Good morning, everyone. Let's make it a productive day.
Hess turns and continues to the boardroom. Ali enters the office with gyros. The smell from the gyros attracts Helen's glare. His coworkers wave Ali off. He ducks into the break room. Hess sniffs the air.
Guy's the food pirate.
Hess, damn it!
Believe.
That vendor stink is even stronger. Helen, get the doorman and security on the phone now.
Meanwhile, interior Coal Forever loading dock, early morning. The can team arrives at the Coal Forever building, marked with building maintenance service decals. The van backs up to the far end of the loading dock. Hannah hands out coveralls as their disguise. All exit carrying brooms and buckets except Uli. Nolan engages the lock decoder. He opens up the secured entrance to the service area. The readout turns green and a soft beep sounds. Madison turns to see Uli go a different direction, entering a stairwell labeled mechanical room.
Uli, this way.
Uli turns, puts a finger to his lips, signals to be quiet, then motions for her to continue through the loading dock. Madison takes out her pack of guillotines?
Jeton.
I don't even know what that means.
Jeton means
What is
gypsy in
that?
French.
Okay.
She takes out a pack of gypsies?
They're cigarettes.
Oh, perhaps a pack of cigarettes.
Yes.
Empty.
Alright.
She tosses it toward the trash can. Misses. In the basement, Uli locates the main air ducts. Or a pack of guillotine cigarettes.
Hold up.
How are they in the
Because
basement
if that's
suddenly?
going to be an important prop
Hold
later,
on. Pausing for a
It
second on
is.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
How
then
did they teleport from the loading dock to the basement?
Yeah, that was my objection to. All right, so we're here in the loading dock, and then here, we are in the basement, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he goes into the mechanical room.
Which is a new location.
Whenever you
that
change
didn't have.
locations, you got to put either a slug
All right. Fair
or
enough.
like a little subheader moves and then new line into the basement, block letters, kind of.
Correct.
Yeah.
My mistake.
yeah, for subheaders work great for a reading script, because you don't need to read out a whole slug if we're just changing rooms within a single location.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, back to the cigarette. Tell us what that is, especially because the brand is going to become important. So we know that it's not just a generic empty pack of cigarettes, because anybody would have those. Obviously, you want to draw attention to that it's a specific brand, but for those of us reading who don't know what this is,
Got it.
I would just say it's a guillotine, or however you pronounce it, cigarettes. Or guillotine branded
brand
cigarettes.
cigarette, yeah.
Danny should be
something
able to pronounce it.
What? Gitan?
See?
Yeah, that branded cigarettes, like Preston said.
Got it.
That way, everybody knows exactly what it is, and when it comes back later, we can connect it and we'll remember it. Because
Right.
we'll
It
remember,
was
oh,
brought
it's
up in the prison scene where she wakes up.
I don't remember
but-
the prison
Yeah, I
scene.
know exactly to your point before. So yeah.
Empty. She tosses it toward the trash can, misses. In the basement, see, now we change a little interior basement. Uli locates the main air ducts. He rises through them up to that would be interior air ducts. Uli rises through them up to the 50th floor.
Yeah, we're changing locations again. Yeah.
Interior 50th floor. Uli
Yeah.
drops from the ceiling vent, dressed in a white suit, landing silently. His black cape flows, revealing the blood-red lining. Dracula is in the building.
That's right.
Uli steals up to a security guard, age 40. I don't know what that means.
That's an interesting way to write sneaks.
I
Yeah.
have a meeting with Renfield Hess. Please direct me.
The guard begins to answer as he turns, but is startled seeing Uli.
You're not a board member. How did you get on this floor?
He gathers himself.
You will need to clear security and register before.
Uli raises his hand, and the guard is frozen. Only his eyes are moving. They reveal his fear as they widen. Uli calmly bends his head toward the guard's neck. His body frozen stiff, the guard eyes following Uli. A slight wince from the guard's body. Uli pulls away, using a red pocket square to wipe his lips. The guard eyes roll back in his head as Uli gently lowers him to the ground. Our first vampire bite scene, and we don't even get like
43.
What?
that.
The
And
second
it's
one.
it's just so like we're like
What do you want, John?
I want him to bite into his neck and like tear it off and just
Rip
be
his
like,
fucking
You want like
face
blood
off.
spraying everywhere? You want gratuitous
Yes.
blood spray?
yes.
Okay,
Like,
fair enough.
If you're
Vampire
gonna
blood.
lose weight this long for a vampire scene, give us a real vampire scene.
Okay, John and Danny want gratuitous blood spray.
If you're gonna do a bite scene, yes. If he's just gonna
Preston,
mesmerize
we are 50
him,
minutes into a vampire movie. This is our first vampire scene. Better make it count.
Well,
if he's just
according to
gonna
Robert, it
mesmerize
says
him,
the
just
second.
mesmerize him.
It is the second one, but that's fine. I get your points.
Okay.
Okay. Small pool of blood forms by the guard's neck. Uli looks on as the pool slowly grows.
You will be fine. Rest now.
I mean, if the pool of blood is growing, he absolutely will not be fine.
Uli meets the team at the service elevator. They skulk down the marble floors and along the rare species of mahogany paneled walls. How do we know they're rare species of mahogany?
For that matter,
Visual.
How
I
could
know.
you not, Philistine?
I would
team-
also want to know how many people are in the team. But yeah.
The team turns down the hallway, approaching the entrance to the. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Didn't we just change locations again?
Oh,
We
we
did.
did.
Yeah. Okay. That's all right. I don't even know what location we're in now. The
We're
board
now in the
enters the
boardroom.
boardroom.
Yeah.
They see the guard sprawled out on the floor. But the guard's not in the boardroom because the board's in the boardroom meeting with their villain.
Being
Or-
guarded by the guard.
They're
see the guard
approaching the
sprawled out on
entrance to the boardroom. They see
Okay.
the guard sprawled out on the floor.
Well, okay. Hannah's voice quivers.
Erwin,
Is he dead?
I don't kill. I preserve. He'll be fine in a couple hours. He just needs to gather himself.
Hannah looks over to Nolan.
I think he's dead.
Nolan kneels by the guard.
Nah, he just farted. Dead men don't fart, I think.
Somebody didn't watch Last Action. Last Action. Oh crap! Last Action Stand. No, I'm blanking on it. Last Action Hero. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, somebody didn't watch Last Action Hero. Nolan
Hey,
looks
remember,
up
like a
at.
page ago when this was like a horrifying vampire movie, and now we're talking.
I know.
about-
Now it's a comedy. Now
All
it's
right, you
what's
two.
Remember, like 30 pages ago, when this
Crusty.
was a really great farm drama.
You two are so crusty. Anyway.
I want the farm drama, Robert.
All right.
you know what it reminds me of? What's that TV show that's on from New Zealand about the vampires?
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes, kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of this scene. Reminds me of something I would expect to see out of that show.
Except they kill so many people in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Like
This is like the
funny, but
good
it doesn't
version.
shy
This is
away
the
from
nice
horror.
version.
I believe we're right here.
Nolan looks up at Hannah.
But Uli sure is weird. What's with the cape?
Superimpose Revelation 2010, and the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur. Interior CF conference room. Day. The CF meeting is underway. During Hess's presentation, the board members talk among themselves, picking over the pastries and coffee on a platter in the center of the conference room. So what, they can have pastries, but the workers outside can't get donuts? What an asshole.
Hess, the essential message to the public, and more importantly to our investors, is that we have not harmed the planet. We have helped humanity. We fueled the Industrial Revolution.
Hell yeah.
The board members smile, brush crumbs from their coats, slurp coffee from CF mugs, and nod heads in agreement. BMI, age 48 to 50, that's not what a BMI is. In a
BM1.
righteous...
BM number 1.
Board member 1.
Oh!
The
Okay.
main reason for my service on this board is to see that the progress, the human benefits we make possible continues.
The generous stock options don't hurt either. Ha ha ha.
Har, har, har. They all laugh.
Ha 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 ha.
What was, no, actually, this kind of reminds me of Joseph's sketch now about the boardroom. They couldn't be any whiter and fatter. Hess looks over his gluttonous board, points to the video of climate activist disruptions.
It's not all rainbows and lollipops. Militant climate activists ready to stand in our way. Attacks on CF projects in the Florida Reef.
That's not a sentence.
Maybe we could buy them off.
The most threatening group is Can. I've hired the Valkyrie gang to dispense with them. They'll leave no trace.
Oh, so he's a murderer now, too. Board members, body language.
Can is the most threatening group and they're making fart jokes?
Reveals her discomfort with the harsh plans.
I personally am not against efforts to preserve our planet.
BM2 bites the remainder of her prune Danish. The prune. Okay. Still chewing, mouth full, she responds. I like some of these are pretty good lines.
Me neither. And I don't want my stock options to be worthless. But still, mercenaries?
Hess uses his pocket square to wipe the corner of his mouth, clearing away the last of his Bavarian cream.
This is covert. This is decisive
Whoa. Where did
action.
this teleporting donut come from? He specifically mentioned not having one of those earlier.
That is true, but this implies that he got one and ate it.
Mm-hmm.
That is fair.
BM3 looks up from his tablet.
I don't know. The Valkyrie gang is expensive and violent. What if they mess up? We can get in trouble. I don't like this.
You can get in trouble for talking about it. Do they not take meeting minutes at these board meetings? He walks over to BM3 and bends down to his face.
You are a wimpy little shit.
BM3 shrinks further into his chair with each syllable.
If your family didn't own the biggest coal plant in West Virginia, you would still be managing the company parties, making sure everybody got their favorite donut.
Harsh.
Uli whispers to Madison.
Now, we must go in now and take advantage of their doubts.
Wait, so Uli and Madison are now in the room?
They're looking into the room.
But
like
the
a
camera's
fishbowl.
still in the room.
Yes, but it's like a fishbowl.
John's saying you need
You need another location slug.
All right.
Mini slug, yeah.
Just outside the room. Okay.
Yes.
You can do that, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Just outside the room.
Just outside the room.
That is a location.
That is a location, yeah.
It may not be the same location as the actual room. That's why you do that.
Yeah.
Sure. The camera move, yeah.
And the production secretary will fix all of the slugs before going into shooting anyway. So your job as the writer.
Moves. I get
if
it.
your production's big enough, Frontier Crucible didn't have any of that.
Well, but Frontier Crucible also took place in one location.
And I did it for the director, and he ignored me, and we still had problems.
Sure did.
Again, one location. The job of the writer at this point is to make it as clear to the reader as possible.
Where
the
they
rest,
are.
They'll deal with it all later. Is my point.
Well, yeah, but there are people whose job it is to make sure everything can get filmed, and making it harder for them to do that does nobody any favors. That's why we ask screenwriters to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ulysses, Ulysses is a line. Oh no, Ulysses said his line. I have a line. Uli signals to the others to follow. They burst into the boardroom. Uli is face to face with Hess. Hess does not flinch, steps closer to Uli.
Who the hell are you? How the hell did you get in here?
We made our own appointment.
Hannah nudges Madison.
Go on. Tell them why we're here. what we want from them.
Yes,
We
be
are-
the most threatening climate group that they've ever heard of.
We are can.
Board members respond in collective gasps.
Oh no!
We come in peace for now. We will not let CF continue to harm our precious planet and our limited resources.
Madison's body language stiffens, showing a surge of confidence.
I grew up on a farm in Minnesota. I know what having a working infrastructure means to having a good life.
We're being threatened by a farmer's daughter. Ha 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 ha. Just a hysterical hayseed bitch.
Pointing her finger, Madison leans into BM3's face.
Preserving the world by reducing carbons is the only path we have to save future generations of every species.
BM1 writes on a notepad, "Do you think they have guns?" and carefully slides it to BM2. Hess laughs at Madison.
You naive trollop and your cosplay misfits, the noble count, the computer geek.
This is skating.
Jess staring disdainfully to Hannah.
And the token dyke.
Hessie's gangsta.
Hess addresses the board.
This is what we're up against. Tree huggers and geeks still living with their trailer trash mothers.
Then why
You
do
leave my
need
mom out
hitmen
of this.
mercenaries? Uli places a hand on Nolan's shoulder, nudging him back to the group. The board members are chattering and chuckling with crosstalk.
This ragtag group is what challenges us?
BM3 feeling superior.
Oh, Hess, your plans are overkill for these sorry souls.
The laughing continues. Madison's confident demeanor turns to anger. She pounds the table with her fist. Pastries and fly into the air.
Oh no, the pastries.
Do not underestimate our resolve.
Or the pastries.
I know what sacrifice is. I have slit the throat of animals to feed my family. My family survived. Will yours?
Hannah and Nolan look at each other.
Where the hell did that come from? We're not murderers. Yeah, say that in front of the bad guys. You're so good at this.
Except maybe for the guard.
Hess has had enough of this theater.
Yes,
I'm
and you're
calling
murderers in
security.
front of the board. You're so good at this.
I'm calling security. If you continue to hinder our work, I will personally see to your demise.
Uli steps up to Hess and slowly waves his hand, and Hess stiffens, frozen like the guard. Only his eyes show expression. The board members chatter, turns to desperate yells.
All right, so that's what we got this evening. I really liked Hess. Hess was an absolute corporate gangster.
Yes.
That guy was just dropping bombs. He didn't give 0 F's given, dude. As far as I'm concerned, this is Hess's movie. We had like some cool vampire eco-terrorist hijinks. They broke into the boardroom and Hess read them their rights right up until Uli put them under a mind spell. I enjoyed it. What do you think, John?
Yeah, this was fun. Like this was a kind of had a really strong dark comedy vibe to it. Hess is he is your stereotypical over the top comedic villain that you just absolutely love to hate.
Yep, I think Hess is a great G.I. Joe villain that was very well written. And certainly a lot of shenanigans occurred, maintaining the comedic tone you've been establishing.
Erwin, what do you
I
think?
love the scene with Hess and Noah. It kind of reminded me of Kevin Spacey in Swimming with Sharks or something like that. A number of maybe different Kevin Spacey characters, but anyways, yeah, it was really a lot of fun. Yeah, the group of environmentalists are nice and goofy, I like the sort of the goofy tone of that group.
All right, Erwin, if you could change anything to make it a little better, what would it be?
Well, I mean, uh, I wasn't sure about the tone that Robert you were going for. Um, it came off as kind of kind of an 80s like maybe an 80s vampire slash 18 type of show or something like that. Um, but I also had the sense that maybe this was supposed to be a little bit more serious than I was feeling. So maybe if you dropped a couple of, but then I'm coming in at page 40, so I'm not really I don't know. Yeah, but from my reading, yeah, maybe a couple hints as to the proper tone of this passage.
John.
Yeah, I'm also confused by the tone because, all right, well, I'm gonna let me start here. So, regardless of the tone, whether you're going for dark comedy or not, I felt like the stakes were a little lacking. Our heroes, assuming Can are our heroes, have absolutely no challenges getting into this building and confronting this board. And I feel like it's almost too easy. These board members are no real threat. I mean, the big bad is comedically talking in public about hiring a mercenary group to murder people. And assuming this is a public company, public companies have board meeting minutes, and those are typically part of the company record that are distributed to shareholders. So I kind of don't think that's something that he would be talking about in a meeting. So even if you're going for comedic tone, I feel like when it gets that far out there, it kind of loses even. It's just too dumb, and I don't think that's what you're going for. I think even if you're trying to do dark comedy, I still get the feeling that you want something a little more grounded, and there's nothing grounded about the boardroom scene specifically. I mean, Hess with the donut scene, that was great. That was some great dark comedy villainous shit right there. If that's the tone you're going for, that scene's a keeper. But the boardroom scene, honestly, I think the donut scene was way better than the racist scene that you had him do outside. I did not like that, and I kind of made that clear. This scene with the donuts is what you needed. That other scene, I think you can cut. I know you tried to do the callback to it by having the guy bring gyros in, but honestly, I don't think you need that. I think the donut scene was perfect. But anyway, the boardroom scene, I don't feel like was grounded in reality enough that it really had any real teeth to it. Can going in without any real obstacles to overcome really just doesn't really have high stakes to it. And at the end of the day, I don't really see what Can thinks they're going to accomplish by doing this. Like breaking into an oil refinery and sabotaging equipment, like that has impact. It halts production. They have to expend resources to repair said equipment. Like that has an actual impact. That's what eco-terrorists do. These guys, they're going to get arrested. They could call 911 and have them arrested for trespassing, and then they'll all go down jail. There'll be a restraining order, and that if they get within 100 feet of the building, they'll be arrested again and go to jail for 90 days. Like, that's what's going to end up happening here in the real world. And I just don't. even in a comedy, I feel like without that grounding in reality, I feel like it's I guess, I don't know, childish in a way. I don't know if that's being too harsh, but it sounds like something would be in a kid's movie.
All right.
I don't think it's too harsh. I
Danny.
think this vampire movie is toothless.
Har har har.
For all of the same, like, who is the audience for this, Robert?
This is you'd asked me that last week what the genre
No,
was.
I asked what your genre was. Now I want to know who this is for.
This is a PG-13 for the most part.
Sorry,
That
And
doesn't tell us who the audience is.
it does. It tells you the demographic is going to be for more
all
more impressionable,
13 years of age or younger. Or
PG-13 is the advisement for a 13-year-old, but it would go to 15s, and it's for when
Captain
they're
America was PG-13, and there's 9-year-olds going to see that movie. PG-13 doesn't mean it can be anything from that to
parental guidance on for anyone below 13.
I'm giving it like I'll give you an age demographic. I'd say between 10 and 16 is the key audience for this kind of thing. That's where the fart joke is in there. And some of the more dad joke type of things that are there. They're accessible, they're easy to understand. While there is
how many 10-year-olds are going to get your historical drama about Christ, or that scene at the beginning, or the very good farm/prison drama?
I think that they'll feel it, and I do feel that. I believe that.
You're gonna traumatize the hell out of a 10-year-old by showing them a dead cow.
Although I gotta defend Robert here and say a lot of like Disney films intended for kids have traumatic scenes. And I know, like, for instance, like Watership Down was not Disney, but that was a children's movie, but it was pretty traumatizing, so
100%.
Yeah, but how many people today would have their kids watch it?
None now.
Yeah. None anymore.
I mean, Watership Down was traumatizing because people expected cartoons to blah, 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 be for kids. My point with that is that your 16-year-olds are maybe going to find the historical stuff interesting. Actual adults are going to find the farm thing interesting. I doubt a 6-year-old is going to care about what even happens in a boardroom or what a stock option is. So I'm confused as to why they'll find this interesting. Everyone paid to see a vampire movie that they're not getting. And even those very serious Disney movies and animations have stakes.
Mm-hmm. Especially the good ones.
In which our characters risk something to accomplish a goal. What is their goal? What are they risking to do, and why are they doing this particular thing to accomplish it? Are they desperate? No. They had all the time in the world to plan this, and they don't even know what they want to say when they get there. They didn't even prepare. No one prepared a speech, even if it's bad. Like, Uli not knowing what he's doing is daft but acceptable, because he's just like, I'm a vampire, I can do whatever I want, I live forever. That's cool. I like that he's involved. So how is he contributing aside from not murdering enough people? And why are we on the 50th floor if no one gets thrown out a window?
Yeah,
that's the next 10 pages.
There you go.
But people get thrown out windows.
We're an hour into this. Like, seriously, like, you had some compelling scenes, but you're not giving them to me. Why am I still in this theater? Right? Like, why am I not going to the bathroom and being like, okay, nothing's going to happen for 10 minutes? Like, the second someone hears a fart joke, they're going to go, like, buy some popcorn or, like, fill up another cup with, like, vodka so they can have fun tonight. And then they're missing the interesting part that's about to happen next. You're not, there's no stickiness to this scene. Nothing's at stake. They're not going to accomplish their goals. You lie to us in this weird way when, like, the board thinks these people are their biggest threat. like what the heck's that all about? Like, don't talk them up and then show us that. Of, like, don't talk about my mom like that. Are you kidding? Like, you could be more childish, and that would be fine. Or you could be more Captain Planet, and that would be fine. Or like be anything, that would be fine. But like, yeah, there seems to be like a lot of ideas and not a great sense of like, again, what this movie is and who it's for. And it's starting to like really, really drag on what's actually kind of interesting that you are presenting us with. Which could be Uli, could be Hannah, could even be Hess, but it doesn't seem to be a movie about any of those people.
So, for me, I want to know what is the conflict, which at this point needs to be pretty well defined. Because we've got Uli, who is a vampire, and I'm not exactly sure what he wants or even why he's here. Like, he seemed to find these eco-terrorists and be like, okay, cool. I guess I'll follow along. So the eco-terrorists end up in a corporate boardroom, basically by the strength of their vampire companion. Okay. I don't know that, what is really the conflict that drives this story that wants me to find out what happens next? And who am I cheering for? Am I really cheering for the eco-terrorists to defeat the corporate boardroom because I'm an environmentalist at heart? I mean, you haven't really shown me the corporate boardroom doing horrible things and clubbing seals. I'm not emotionally invested in them being thrown out the window by Uli. If anything, like the eco-terrorists have certainly like the more progressively favored moral message here, but they're by a vampire who already killed someone. Is probably going to kill more people. So I don't really see that they're moral arbiters of anything. I'm not emotionally invested in what's necessarily going to happen next outside of, Hess delivered some gangster lines and he's probably going to die. And that will be sad.
Because your script will then be that much less gangster.
Yeah, then it'll be less gangster.
You will have lost an interesting character.
Yeah,
Anyway. Said we love to hate him. I mean, he's a well-written comedic villain, and we absolutely love to hate him. I mean,
yeah, I'm back on the tone thing. I think maybe if when you figure out the tone thing, you might be able to like hone in on the story a little bit better. Like who's your main character and what kind of theme you're going to work with. Like, is it going to be themed around blood and life? Like that could be something like blood and Mother Gaia. But yeah, I think you could use some unifying aspects to all of this because there's a lot of spines sticking out all over the place. But the tone, I'm thinking, like, is it more like Goonies, or that's really, really young, right? Or is it more like Spy Kids, or move it up?
Spy Kids is like younger than Goonies. I'd put
Spy Kids younger than Goonies. Okay, well here's
Yeah.
a
It's way younger movies.
Yeah.
that, which is a movie I watched recently again, which I really liked, is War Games, which also
That's a great movie.
yeah, it's fantastic, and yeah, it has a lot of more higher level themes, But kids love that movie, so yeah.
I like that movie.
It's a great movie.
Like thermonuclear war.
Yeah. One of the things when you do,
I got to say, like, going to the conflict of War Games is very real. It's very there. It's very, you don't want nuclear war to happen, and this AI seems to be causing it. I have to stop this. And that's something that the audience, particularly in the 80s, was very emotionally invested in. You wanted them to succeed. Anyway, go ahead, John.
No, I feel like when it comes to kids, and again, I mean, it's been a while since all of us were kids, but I think when it comes to young, 10 to 16 is a very weird demographic because 16-year-olds, they want to be treated like adults. They're most likely already watching R-rated movies.
Mhm.
Their interests and their views on the world are not the same as a 10-year-old. And I think most 16-year-olds would not be into the same thing that a 10-year-old is in. And I feel like if you're trying to appeal to that demographic and you're not doing superheroes, I think is very tricky. And that's why I brought up Captain America, because I just watched Brave New World last weekend.
I'm
And
so sorry.
I
That's my favorite
I
story.
did not like it. I did not like it.
Was that the one with Leonard Nimoy or a different Brave New World?
No, this is the one with Harrison Ford.
Oh, really? I didn't know
because
In which he's a Red Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't see that. Never mind. Sorry. I was thinking of the Aldous Huxley novel.
Oh, that would be great.
That was great, but yeah.
Wait, Leonard Nimoy's in that?
Yes, there is a version of Brave New World with Leonard Nimoy.
I'm watching the hell out of that tonight.
Yeah, you have to order it off DVD because it was a Sci-Fi Channel exclusive and it's hard to find.
Oh, that's what torrents are for. But anyway, so I watched it last weekend. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it wasn't the best, and I mean, Winter Soldier and Civil War were still the best. But anyway, my whole point was that's the kind of that movie is geared. There's enough in that movie that it will keep your 8 to 10-year-olds occupied. It'll keep your teenagers occupied. And it also adds some stuff in for the adults as well. I mean, I thought Harrison Ford was like giving one of his top performances that he's done in a while, in my opinion. To me, he made the movie. Everything else was kind of like, but I thought his performance was really good. But anyway, that's kind of what I mean, though. Like, if you look at like anything from like the MCU, they try to reach that big, broad audience. And there's stuff in there for everything. And there's some high concept stuff. And some of them like, like they do, like even in Winter Soldier, they do the whole thing with, like the Nazi Hydra thing. Like there's all this deep stuff in it for that older people will get. And there's still lots of this younger action-y stuff that'll keep the younger people. And you have that. And I just feel like that's it's not impossible, but I think it's a little bit more difficult to do if you're not doing superhero stuff. I think it's just, anyway, I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying the right things.
I mean, no, I think your point's like pretty clear that like
I'm just concerned that
10-year-olds and 16-year-olds are different audiences.
Yes. I'm just concerned that you're going to be too childish and you're going to turn off your 16 up. And your concepts that are supposed to keep the 16 and up are going to go right over the head of your 10-year-olds, and nobody's going to be happy. That's my concern for the story that you have been presenting.
Interesting. I find it very interesting that you guys really like that donut scene. That was the one I was going to cut.
You introduce us to a character, then put them at risk.
Yeah.
And then made us dwell with it for a hot minute, which means we cared about them. This character had a clear goal of not getting fired. The other character had a clear goal of demeaning his employee. And those goals are mutually exclusive. Therefore, that was a conflict.
Yeah.
And it was also a character scene because we got to know who Hess is. It was just like when I mentioned last week about the Running Man, about when the guy was walking in and I said he did in 30 seconds what you did in that big long scene when he tripped, the guy with the mop tripped him, and then he threatened the next guy, I want him fired or whatever. Like you basically wrote that scene with the donut scene. And that's why I said I feel like you accomplished what you needed to introduce that character of Hess in that scene. More so than you did in the other one. Because the other thing, too, is in that scene with the donuts, he's the boss. So they can't fuck with him. Literally. What are they going to do? He's the boss. But the street vendor outside, well, there's a whole crap ton that he could do because he's not his boss. You know? Oh, what are you going to do? Sue your boss because he made fun of you because of donuts? But you can sue the millionaire who spat on your grill and risked your license to sell your business. Like, that's real. That's why I'm saying, like, that's why that scene doesn't work and the donut scene works, because the power dynamic is there.
I want to take a stab at this donut thing. For me, I could not predict what Hess was up to in the donut scene. And like, he's looking at these donuts, and there's something about these. I don't know why. Why is he so concerned about these donuts? And then
passionate about the donuts.
And then it's like he's like, it's a French cruller, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? But he cares for some reason, and then it has to do with him being German. I'm like, well, this guy's kind of messed up. What's going to happen next? And so that's what I really liked about that. That kept me really in suspense. Now the issue with the boardroom scene is for 10 pages or whatever, we know exactly what the two parties are up to, right? We get a speech from Hess, like telling you exactly what the boardroom is up to, and they exchange some lines or whatever about the greenies and whatnot, and then we've spent a number of pages with the green guys, the green people, trying to get up to the boardroom to stop them from doing whatever they're going to do. So that scene needs to take it up
Salute.
a couple of more notches beyond just showing us Force A versus Force B, and we both knew that was what was going to happen anyways. It needs to reveal something more interesting, maybe reveal something about character. Who knows? Maybe it's a revelation about backstory. Maybe the conflict takes a turn that we didn't expect, or it goes up. And I think what you're about to do is this goofy conflict is going to jack up like 3 notches very quickly because of.
Well, I think so. It's not ripping out people's throats and things like that, but it's coming up in the next scene. What I'm hearing is I've got 25 pages that should be about half that, about 12 pages to get there and get to that critical point that you're alluding to, which, yes, is coming.
I mean,
okay.
Again, like, why is Uli even there? Is he trying to level these people up, or is he just there for a lark?
Right. Yeah. If I'm the producer and you're
CEOs?
showing me the script, my question is, well, what is the conflict that is driving this story?
Yeah.
Like when Uli joined these people, I was like, okay, they're a bunch of clowns, and Uli is going to murder everybody.
Exactly.
And they're going to be taken very seriously all of a sudden because they're a problem, and they're going to be in way over their heads. And you're still not giving us that. Uli's like,
I
want
to see that movie.
I don't kill bleeding people or eat them. Like, what's the point of any of that? Why is he even a vampire?
Yes. See, that's the movie I want to see. A bunch of eco-terrorist clowns hook up with a vampire. The vampire starts murderizing everybody. The eco-terrorists get blamed for it, and they become like FBI's most wanted in a complete comedy of errors.
That would be amazing. I would watch the fuck out of that. I'd recommend it.
There you go.
That's my kind of movie right there. Like, give me Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are secretly vampires.
Yeah. I love that movie. Yes. I love that movie.
All right. Moving on.
I'll get Hamlet involved as well.
Yeah.
So.
You might as well. You're naming everybody else after shit for some reason. Like, go for the top.
Project Delta.
All right.
John, tell us about Project Delta.
So, last I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Don't remember. Last time we were at Project Delta, I wrote that really, really cool opening that y'all loved about 14-year-old Marcus doing some hacking stuff. And then after he hacks the planet, he gets called into the principal's office, and the principal office basically the school department's IT department basically found out that he was up to shenanigans, and then we smash cut to this scene 5 years later.
Okay, sounds good. Who narrates, John?
I'll narrate.
All right. Robert narrates. Go ahead.
Interior, John Avalon's condo, bedroom, night. Super, 5 years later. FBI Deputy Assistant Director John Avalon, late 40s, divorced but still wearing his wedding ring, sleeps until the cell phone beside his desk illuminates and vibrates. Avalon grabs it instinctively before his eyes are open.
Deputy Director, we have a breach. Go secure.
Avalon sits up. He's awake now. He taps his phone and the phone app turns red.
What's the situation?
We've lost the plane.
Avalon stands, stretching. Curtains flutter by a large window, revealing the Washington, D.C. Mall.
You're going to have to be more specific.
We lost Air Force One. A Trojan got through our firewalls. Transponders are deactivated, and we've been unable to reach them on comms. We don't know where it is.
Avalon heads to his closet.
Where's Director Ellison?
He's not answering his phone. He's been MIA now for 30 minutes.
Send an agent to his home.
I called his house. His wife said he's not there.
Send an agent anyway. I'm on my way in.
Interior, FBI Headquarters, Cybercrimes Division, night. Hot coffee thermos in hand, Avalon braves the chaotic division office. Analysts run back and forth from cubicles. Agent Coleman runs up to him.
Agents at Director Ellison's house confirm he's not there.
Tell me about the Trojan. What happened? Have the hijackers given us any demands?
We've received no communication from anyone claiming to be hijackers or hackers.
Avalon stops, turns, heading back the direction they were direction they were originally headed.
Sir, where are you going?
Avalon goes up to the FBI Assistant Director William Ellison's office door. Grabbing the handle, he finds it locked. He jiggles the knob, slams his shoulder into the door. It doesn't budge. Coleman runs up to him.
Sir, Director Ellison is MIA.
No shit.
Do you want me to call maintenance?
Avalon hands Coleman his thermos of coffee before turning to an agent standing guard by the elevators.
You, agent.
The agent approaches.
Yes, sir.
Hand me your sidearm.
The agent hands him the pistol.
Weapon discharge.
Avalon fires twice into the door lock. Bang, bang. Then kicks the door open.
Yes.
He hands the pistol back to the agent.
Yes, this, John. Right more of this.
At ease.
Inside, A.D. Ellison's office. Upon entering the office, Avalon flips the light on. The desk is neat, a closed laptop. Flashing desk phone indicates multiple new messages. A photo of A.D. Ellison, his wife, kids, and grandkids. Coleman enters behind him. He goes to the closet. Find it stocked with spare sports coats, 2 suits in plastic, and some casual clothes. Avalon sits at the desk, opens the laptop.
Director Ellison usually takes his laptop home with him.
Codes stream across the screen.
Get me Deputy Director Jace down here right now.
Coleman runs out of the office. Avalon stands, taking out a pocket knife. He quickly cracks the bottom panel of the laptop before ripping it off. Screws fly in all directions. With the knife, Avalon cuts the power cord from the battery to the motherboard. Interior, FBI headquarters, secure server room. Night, hours later. The wisping of massive fan blades overhead fills the room. Avalon sits at a terminal, I think, poring over the lines of code. Line of code streaming across the terminal. Coleman escorts the FBI Deputy Director Jace, wearing a disheveled suit and nursing a coffee into the server room. Ooh, not supposed to have a server room.
Agent Coleman, would you give us a moment?
Yes, sir.
Engrossed in the code, Avalon barely notices them.
Deputy Director Avalon. John.
I don't get it. Director Ellison knew better. And did Coleman report if we found him or not?
Director Ellison remains missing, but Air Force One.
Avalon swallows hard, looking up from the terminal.
It crashed into a neighborhood in Wichita, all on board killed, plus 18 on the ground, a couple dozen wounded.
Oh, we killed the president. I love
You
this.
killed the
movie.
president. This is gangster.
I love this movie.
How long ago?
About an hour ago, I've dispatched a team from Kansas City field office to investigate and report back. Vice President Forrester has been moved to the bunker. She'll be sworn in within the hour. She's already demanding a full report.
Avalon turns back to the monitor.
This code. I recognize it. Prion. Wily son of a bitch. Blackest of the black hats. He'll break through any firewall just to prove that he can.
What's his political affiliation?
None. Prion's apolitical. He's in it for the LOLs, for the lols.
For the lols.
It's who he's working for.
A flashing
Those guys are assholes.
A flashing curses on the monitor draws Avalon's attention back to the screen. Angle monitor. I think that's a character.
I mean, I think that's just the monitor. I think that's a
That's
question.
the text on the screen.
It's the text on the screen, yeah.
Okay. Do I have your attention? Server room. Avalon waves Jace closer to him. Monitor. Avalon types.
Oh, sorry. I hit the wrong key. Let me put this back. But
Somebody
the
hacking you,
little
Preston?
footprints are approaching.
Okay, Avalon types.
No.
Echo send. Yes, but what do you want? The death of your president was only the beginning. There is nowhere I cannot go. There is nothing I cannot do. I will be in contact with further instructions. Disconnect. Server room. Avalon leans back in the chair.
That deputy director is the one in charge.
Interior, FBI headquarters, DAD, Avalon's office, day. Avalon rests uneasily on the couch in his office. Agent Jackson quietly knocks on the door, startling Avalon.
Coffee, sir?
Yeah, please.
Avalon stands, rubbing his eyes. Jackson eyes the coffee-stained mug on Avalon's desk.
Sir, do you want a clean mug?
No, it's fine.
She pours the coffee.
Anything else?
Any word on Director Ellison's location?
No, sir.
That will be all.
As Jackson leaves the office, Avalon grabs his coffee. He opens the blinds, looking out to the cubicles of analysts. Deputy Director Joyce knocks on his office door. Jace.
Good morning, John. Feeling rested?
Avalon shakes his head.
I just don't believe it. William Ellison has been a company man since...
He gets lost in the old memories for a second.
He was a section chief that recruited me out of MIT.
You don't think William did this of his own accord?
No. Someone got to him. Got close to him. Close enough. They could compromise him.
Jace closes the office door, walks next to Avalon, speaking in low tones.
Someone inside the bureau?
Avalon nods.
I've booked a flight to Los Angeles. I leave this afternoon. I've called ahead to Special Agent in Charge, Miguel Hernandez, to expect me.
What's in Los Angeles?
I want to hire an outside consultant. No ties to the Bureau or the bureaucracy. Someone with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Someone expendable.
Interior, California Federal Penitentiary, Library, day. Marcus, now 17, wearing a CFP, California Federal Prison jumpsuit, returns books from a mobile cart back to the shelf in their original order. Guard Charlie approaches, getting his attention.
Jacoby!
Yes, sir. All right.
There's an FBI agent here to see you,
I'm working.
and it'll be here waiting for you when you get back.
Interview room. The guard escorts Marcus, hands cuffed behind his back, into the interview room where Avalon waits.
Thank you, officer. You can remove those.
The guard uncuffs Marcus.
Don't worry. I left my phone, laptop, and pacemaker in my car. I have nothing on me he can use to hack his way out of here.
The guard steps back, waits by the door. Marcus arches a brow, taking a seat.
Your pacemaker?
That last one was a joke. Please, sit.
Avalon opens a folder containing Marcus's records.
So, you're currently serving year 3 of a 10-year sentence for multiple violations of 18 U.S. Code 1030, unauthorized access, wire fraud, interstate data manipulation. And of course,
Avalon moves the court document to show a 2027 newspaper headline about a teen hacker being arrested for stealing $5 million from the GulfCon Energy Corporation.
the GulfCon breach. $5 million vanished from their Cayman accounts like a fart in a hurricane.
Fart!
That's a fart joke. If you're looking for the money, I don't have it anymore.
Avalon opens his briefcase, taking out a massive D-ring binder, drops it on the table. He flips it open, points on the first page, directing Marcus's attention to it.
Actually, I wanted you to look at this. Tell me if anything stands out to you.
Marcus flips through the pages of the computer codes printed out.
This is all one program?
Avalon nods.
What did they hack?
That's classified. Do you recognize the code signatures?
Prion?
You know him.
He gave me the keys to the GulfCon accounts.
Looking up at Avalon,
You want Prion.
And the guy who hired him.
Avalon pulls out a 9x13 manila envelope from his briefcase. He takes out a stack of papers, an employment contract.
No way I'm working for you.
It's a 7-year contract. You spend the rest of your sentence as a consultant for the FBI Cybercrimes Division. The LA field office has one of the top cyber task forces the Bureau has. And you'll be able to spend your off time with your sister.
Marcus shoots Avalon a dirty look.
Do you want to spend her remaining months or years in here? Or by her side?
Security room. Guard Bob enters smiling as guard Jim sips his coffee, watching the monitors.
Dude, check this out. I met this chick online, and she told me about this awesome website.
Guard Bob hands guard Jim a USB drive.
Let me guess, she sent you a bunch of sexy photos.
No, dude, she told me about this website where you can download movies that aren't even in theaters yet, in 4K.
A toilet flush is heard as guard Mike exits a small bathroom.
Hey, Mike, guess what? Bob met a chick online last night.
Guard Mike pours himself a cup of coffee.
Really? You know what? They about meeting people online. If it's a dude, it's a dude. If it's a chick, it's a dude. If it's a kid,
It's the FBI.
Shut up. I'm serious. She said they're rips of like those screener DVDs they give out for the Oscars. I downloaded Hot Chicks in Cars 13 in full UHD. Check it out.
Guard Jim and guard Mike share an incredulous look.
If it'll shut you up.
Guard Jim inserts the USB into the computer.
Oh boy. All right. Well, John, I like it. It feels more grounded than other pages I've read for you. It feels very real world. So some cyber attack hackers killed the president, crashed Air Force One, killed 30 people, I'm gonna say, maybe 40.
Yeah.
and now the vice president, whoever that is in charge. So the U.S. is definitely in chaos and under attack. And we have the FBI agent, I think his name's Avalon, taking action, getting our character that we started this story with out of prison to solve the problem. I know what the conflict is. I know where we're going, and I want him to succeed. Good job, Robert.
I liked it in terms of it kept moving. The seriousness of it, the president and so many people dying from an attack, a cyber attack, not being able to control it, having to cut the wires. These are all, instant response, a lot of instinctual responses going on that make it like, kind of like what you would do if you were that character. So I think the audience has a lot of opportunities to relate to somebody when they see them taking immediate action. Yo, he did the right thing. Oh my God, he did the wrong thing. Oh, he did the right thing. And you've got a lot of that going on there. So there's, I think, some very relatable character arcs or characteristics that people can relate to.
If I recall correctly, we read like a kind of different version of this in the last draft.
The last time we read the opening when Marcus was still a kid.
Okay, so we didn't get to this stuff at all.
So we got to I rewrote some stuff with Avalon and Marcus's introduction based on the new.
Right. Okay. Well, for what's essentially new pages, these are excellent. There's a clear threat. You went extra in a way that wasn't comedic. Going extra actually did increase the stakes and made us care about what was going on. The characters' actions reflected the severity of the situation, which I always like. Like, shooting a gun indoors at the FBI head office is certainly ballsy. And that was actually a really, really great scene because it tells us about the characters and the story. So all of that was incredibly effective. And, you asked the most substantial question of our age. Are you a bad enough dude to save the president? And the answer that the FBI had to give was nope. So, I mean, yeah, there are stakes. They're clearly established and a really, really clear direction with sort of a clear direction of what kind of things the story is going to do.
Erwin.
I felt like these 10 pages really moved pretty briskly. I don't remember Avalon from earlier, from the first 10 pages.
This is his introduction.
Yeah, he wasn't in those. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought, and I followed him. I was interested, despite him not being directly related to the first 10 pages of activity. You jacked up the tension in the two main parts of this 10 pages. The first time was we're going along, they can't find the director or whatnot, and so there's a little bit of tension there, but then we find out almost casually that Air Force One has gone down, and it didn't seem like the characters reacted that strongly to it, which is kind of curious. But it definitely increased the tension for me. And then he goes to look for Marcus, and Marcus doesn't seem all that interested in being part of this whole shebang. And then Avalon brings up his sister, and although I don't necessarily think we saw it in Marcus's face. I felt it a little bit, a definite uptick in the tension there, because I'm like, all right, this gives him a good reason to maybe consider this, and at the same time, he doesn't really want to be a part of any of this. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, good, good stuff.
All right, Erwin, if you could make it better, what would you do?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if this is just John's sort of, if this is part of, if this is done on purpose or not. But I guess I kind of mentioned that, they mentioned that Air Force One had gone down, and there was no sort of punctuated response to that. I felt like there was no like dramatic response to that, and the same thing with the sister. Like he mentions the sister, and I kind of would have liked to have seen, Marcus respond in some. It doesn't have to be, very, very obvious, but just to let the director know, here's a point at which, there's a slight shift in the emotional landscape of this character.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I'll go.
Robert.
Yeah. A couple of things. Obviously, there's little bits of dialogue you need to clean up in the sentences. It's a small thing. Reviews the same word twice in the same sentence and things like that. I think you use terminal twice and stuff. That's minor.
Yeah, I
stuff
have a
that can be
tendency
fixed.
to do that.
Yeah, I'm guilty of the same thing because I cut and paste so much. I
Yes,
repeat shit.
yes, it's definitely a cut and paste thing.
But the other thing is that I want to kind of go a little bit further than Erwin. He's not the character Avalon didn't seem involved with the crash of the Air Force One like much at all. He was kind of sleepy and all this stuff that's going on that it's going there. We needed to see a dramatic moment where he's actually like maybe they've got the satellite vision of the plane going down or something where he witnesses it and that engages him at that level. The way it's written currently, he's more concerned about where's my buddy? Let's break into his office. He's more concerned about his buddy than he is about the president about to crash an airplane. But yeah, well, I understand, but still, the president to these guys, the president's their job, and so that would have given the engagement that Erwin was referring to that moment. And again, I'll say the same thing about the sister. That kind of came out of the blue. I think going back to the scene you had the first part that we read when he was younger and about to get busted. Maybe he's in the office instead of with his parents. He doesn't have parents, and his sister's his guardian, and his sister is the one.
His sister's dying of cancer. The whole first 9 minutes was all about him hacking
the hospital, right? That's
to
it.
get his sister admitted into a children's pediatric cancer ward.
So then you'd want to spend the time with your sister's last few minutes.
Right.
I mean, a couple of lines would hook him back into it better, or the audience back into it to remind him, you want to be with your sister. You don't want her to die alone while you're sitting here in jail. Do that kind of thing. Just tying him more correctly to his sister at that moment when he's being approached. Otherwise, what Avalon says has no meaning unless you go back 20 minutes and recall, that.
Well, we spent 9 minutes. That was the focus of the first 9 minutes. But no, I get your point. No,
it's a line of dialogue. That's it.
No. I think your earlier point. I had a question. Okay, so basically he's Avalon. It's his day off. He's off the clock. He's at home, right? He gets a call in the middle of the night. His boss is missing. Their computer systems were infected with a Trojan, and Air Force One is missing. And his job, he's head of cyber crimes. So you think that everybody's looking for Air Force One. He's going in looking for the source of the Trojan and how it got in. So you think he shouldn't be doing that? I don't know. I guess.
No, I think he needs to be affected by the crash of the plane and everybody going down. and he instinctually, it seems set up. This is what I was expecting, that he instinctually knows they got to that plane because there's no control over it, and so he knows it was a cyber crime. That's his involvement in it. Where's my boss? I've got to deal with him on it. Well, we can't find him, and then he's got that dual motive. One, the experience.
Okay, okay. So you're thinking I put the scenes in a different order.
Right, and tie him to them in a different way. That's yes.
Rewrite the scene so that he goes in Air Force One as priority, then it goes down, then he goes looking for his boss.
Because he instinctually knows that plane had to go down because of a cyber attack. That involves him. Now he's hooked in to the
and then he goes
event.
looking for his boss who's missing.
What's that?
It'd be even better if he said that.
Well, yeah. I mean, telling everybody,
like,
hey, this is a cyber attack.
Why are you
this
going
is a cyber
off,
attack.
Avalon? This was clearly a cyber crime. I need to go talk to my boss.
Where the fuck is your boss?
Bam, new mystery.
Well, I'm guessing. Yeah,
that works. I like it. No, I'll work on that.
Okay, and just one other little thing, since we're going to be grounded. The guy comes in, the Avalon comes in, and he says, "I already left my gun and my badge in the area." Well, that would be he's going into a prison. That's the first thing they do is they strip you of everything. So that it seemed like a throwaway line when he goes in and he says, "You don't have to pat me down. I don't have any gun."
No, he's already in there.
Yeah, I know. That's why it wouldn't be. They would have to pat him down regardless. In reality,
he's the direct deputy assistant director of the FBI, but
no
notwithstanding, the point was not about his gun and his badge. It was about his phone and his computer. That was the joke. The joke line was because Marcus is a hacker, and he can use internet connected devices to get into pretty much anywhere. That's kind of it was more of a joke line than it was anything else.
Then clean it up and make it a little more. Well, it wasn't clean to me. Now maybe if I reread it, I would get it better. But that stuck out to me.
Well, that was the whole thing about the pacemaker. The whole line was about.
Yeah, I get the pacemaker. Yeah, then I would write the line as, "Yeah, the only internet connected thing I have is my pacemaker. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to hack into that? In other words, throw the gauntlet down a little bit."
Yeah, why doesn't he have a real pacemaker? Maybe that's why he's in cyber crimes. He got shot. Now and then
and the bullets.
Maybe
still
someone
in there.
at the end of the movie uses his pacemaker to hack the planet.
Yeah.
I'll think about that. No, it was really just supposed to be kind of a jokey throwaway line.
I need a battery for this phone, so I get to the door. Here, use my pacemaker.
That's it for me.
All right. Danny, anything?
Yeah, I don't think you use the word cyber often enough in those last 2 pages. That needs to be fixed.
There you go. All right,
and
I'm being you use cyber way too much in the last few pages.
Yes.
and that needs to be fixed.
Okay.
Like it's not 1996. You don't need to put cyber in front of everything, dude.
You just reminded me. The title.
Okay. No, that is the official titles of the departments.
It doesn't matter. You use that word too much in a small number of pages, and it was real annoying.
And then
titles.
Everybody's got a title. It got too much. Yeah.
So there was that.
Okay. I'll try to tighten that up.
You may have cut to the scene with the guards a little bit early.
I like the guards.
Yeah, I like the guards too. You
bunch of doofuses.
You clearly haven't resolved any of the conversation with fake Kevin Mitnick, and
no, we're gonna get back to it.
Yeah, no. Well, I figure so. You need to either cut right after the sister line and not leave any more of that, and pick up on the sister theme when you cut back to it.
Oh, okay.
Or finish the conversation, then cut to the guards, and then have whatever's happening with the guards happen when the FBI director is leaving. Those are your options, and you cut too late into the interview scene to like really balance that shit.
That could really work. He leaves. Avalon's done with him. He's leaving down the hallway. The camera's following him, and the camera stops, watches him exit, and then pans left. There's the guard sitting in the room having that conversation.
Right. So it could be that, or listen, no, it's about your sister. Dun, dun, dun. Cut to the guards. Something dramatic is happening, but it doesn't look dramatic. So why did we cut? We're confused. Cool. We get through some of the bullshit. Then we've got the serious cyber hacking, whatever. Cyber. Okay. Cutting. We cut back to the interview. So tell me right now, buddy, do you want to let your sister die of cancer alone, or do you want to come with me and do this job? Are you a bad enough dude to save the president? Then bam, the lights go out.
Right. Okay. No, Danny, you're picking up what I'm putting down. So okay,
dude, I watch good things too. Like I don't only read things like, when we're here. Like I'm in for it when it's happening. That was it. You cut out of the scene like way late.
So you think I should cut away earlier and then
cut away the second the sister gets mentioned, give like a look at, like in video, it's this is about your sister. Then you just like look at the guy, cut away. And then you got this hanging hook of what's the thing about his sister again?
Oh, okay.
Because then there's a suspenseful moment and you want to go back to the interview. So suddenly it's, why are we being shown this? Oh, something more dramatic is going to happen now. So you're keeping the audience wondering about the real drama while you show them something else.
Right.
It's a really good misdirection. Then you don't need to show that entire conversation either.
Okay.
That made sense, right? The misdirection bit? Okay.
Yeah, no, there's going to be tons of that. But yes. No, I think I follow you. I will tweak when I bring the next set of pages back. Maybe I'll tweak some of those lines. We'll see if they cut away to our 3 guard doofuses, and then when we cut back, you can tell me if it works.
I mean, when in doubt, cut to the 3. Like, cut the boring part. Show us the guards. Then cut.
I tried. I'll try cutting more, especially with all of their title and introductions and crap. If that's where the problem is, or if that's a problem, which it seems like it is, then I'll tighten up that scene. And then, I'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens.
Good luck.
Awesome. All right, moving on. We have.
I got some water. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then we'll go to Erwin's script, Entangled. Erwin, tell us about Entangled.
I don't know if y'all have read any part of this already. But
I saw Tangled, Disney's Tangled.
Exactly. I was thinking that.
Oh, no, I don't know anything about that. But
Rapunzel.
This is kind of a twisted romance across multiple universes.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. You want to know anything more about it? I wanted to
multiple universes. Is it like human on human, or is it like Captain Kirk and aliens?
It's human on human. When I say twisted, it's more like psychologically.
Okay.
Twisted. Yeah.
But they're humans from a different dimension.
No, they're humans in our dimension.
Okay.
But yeah, I should say it's a twisted romance across parallel universes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, I guess a little bit.
Yeah, sort of more. Yeah, more like a sliding doors or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or frequencies. How did I describe it? It's like frequencies. It's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind meets frequencies. And yeah, there are elements of thriller and crime, crime stories here.
But we're starting on page 1, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we should just get into it and see if it grabs us.
I'm back.
I could read the.
No.
We'll
narrate.
Okay.
Exterior Russian Orthodox Church in Chicago at night. Homeless people, drug dealers, and prostitutes hang out in front of the ornate Russian Orthodox Church. Interior Russian Orthodox Church night. Porchenko, a young Orthodox priest, kneels before the cross, whispering a prayer. Porchenko turns to see a cute blonde Anna at 6. She looks at him innocently.
Welcome to Chicago, my dear.
Spasiba. Thanks.
Why do I have to play the girl?
You don't have to.
I'm already playing the girl. Hey, Diane.
Hi.
Porchenko starts closing shop in the small church.
Maybe we will see you on Sunday. The day is done here.
Anna nods and says one final prayer to God. She leaves. Porchenko locks the doors behind her. He turns around and is surprised to see the senior priest before him.
You're the steward of this church now, Porchenko.
Silence. Senior priest hands keys over.
Yes, you have something to say?
I will pray for you.
In these times, pray for humanity.
The senior priest leaves. Gunshots echo, shouting, screaming. Interior priest chambers and hallway night. The room is lined with images of biblical apocalypse, Curie, Bohr, and Einstein mushroom clouds, a diagram of the double-slit delayed response experiment, a garden of earthly delights. Porchenko undresses. A ticking can be
Wait,
heard.
what?
What?
Porchenko undresses? Is that on the art on the wall, or is that an action by the character? Pick a lane.
And
Yeah, that's an action. Yeah.
That's an action.
Okay.
The character's taking action. Yes.
All right. If it were just war and pestilence, fine. The spiritual apocalypse roars.
Porchenko notices the ticking. He walks out of the room towards the intensifying sound. Interior
Undress.
labyrinth beneath the church night.
Yes.
Descending the
dress.
stairs, he walks through a maze of hallways until he locates a door. He listens to the ticking. Interior the room beyond night. He enters, stares at an old clock on the wall. The hands say 8 o'clock. He looks at his watch. It says 7:59. Porchenko tries to take the clock off the wall. He can't. He tries to move the hands of the clock. He can't. He yanks one of the arms, cutting his hand. Blood drips. He looks down at the watch. It says 7:58. He looks up at the clock, then back of the watch, now 8:01. He looks down at the Russian nesting doll on the trunk under the clock. He jerks his head around. Opposite the clock is a girl's twin bed and nightstand, atop of which sits a framed painting of Anna at 16, blonde and beautiful, but with a look of wonder and fear. Porchenko picks up the painting, enthralled. Ticking stops. Interior Kasparov home day. Anna at 6 approaches Kasparov, a robust figure with a Ukrainian accent. As he chops onions.
Tato.
yes, Anna.
I only weigh 20 kilos right now.
Yes, dear.
Take me to a rocket. I can make it to the space station utilizing only 12 tons of fuel.
He flashes a figure on her calculator.
Yes, let's go to Rocket.
Immediately, I still have a chance to break the light barrier.
Cannot go faster than light.
Are you a Durak? Of course I can.
Interior Lee home in Chicago at night. Mr. Lee, a working. You have to love all this Asian representation, don't you, Diane?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
You love it. You love it.
Let's do it.
Mr. Lee, a working class Chinese, reads Goodnight Moon to his son Jay at 6. Curious but existentially anxious. Yeah. Jay's sassy sister May at 6 sleeps on a parallel bed.
Good night, room.
Abba.
Abba.
Good night,
Good
Moon.
night, moon.
I read that book so many times.
Okay.
What if we're all a simulation? What if we're all a simulation and we're watching ourselves? What if it's all just a feedback loop?
I make donuts, Jay. I don't.
Can you take me to a gun range? I want to shoot a bazooka.
What is with these children?
I
May,
love
yeah,
these children.
the 6-year-olds are crazy. May,
Dude, those are
Now,
like
this is how you write crazy
those
children
are
into
some
comedy.
syllables for a 6-year-old.
May at 6 fake snores loudly. She mumbles in her sleep.
Don't let him shoot anything.
Growing up montage. Jay at 6 and May at 6 play with a laser at a school. Jesus, at a school lab. Jay at 6, studying physics at the church after school.
That's Anna at
Porchinko
6.
points out some things in her work. Jay, May, and Anna pass each other on the streets of Chicago. Kasparov works sanitation. Mr. Lee works at a bakery. Mrs. Lee works at a textile sweatshop. Porchinka studies physics. Interior Lee home in Chicago. Day Jay at 12 with bull haircut. Oh, there you go. Sets up a double slit experiment with a laser and a box. One slit open, and the laser produces a single bar of light at the far side of the box. Mr. Lee lectures May at 12, already a rebel.
Do better than the other students. That's your job, your responsibility.
And that sounds pretty Asian, doesn't it?
That does
Yeah.
sound very
That sounds
Asian.
pretty Asian.
That sounds
I
extremely
think
Asian.
that's extremely Tiger Mom.
It's like, the thing is that it's also like you need to be a doctor.
May at 12. No.
Jay opens the other slit of the double slit, and the single bar turns into an interference pattern of light.
Do you know what responsibility is?
Yes, but I ignore it.
Mr. Lee slaps May.
Oh, yeah,
May
that's-
bolt.
So Asian, so Asian.
May bolts towards the front door.
May, hold on. Responsibility is just a word early farmers invented to keep themselves working. That's just old, but right.
May looks at Jay, punches him in the belly. Interior Orthodox Church night. Porchinka watches Anna at 12, fashionable but still naive as she works a physics problem.
And if you assume that the speed of light is constant, you'll see that time
Is relative.
slowing down at higher speeds, and as Einstein proves, time also goes backwards.
Oh,
Einstein.
Did you want to see time jump by 1 minute?
Interior labyrinth beneath the church night. Porchinka pulls Anna at 12 through oddly lit hallways whose walls feature both saints and scientists. Interior the room beyond time night. Porchinka picks up a particle detector. Anna at 12 watches as he points the instrument at the clock. Nothing.
What's going on? This clock emits tachyons. It's
Porchinka accidentally points the instrument at Anna. The readings go off the chart. He watches Anna at 12 as she studies a painting of herself at 16 years of age. The resemblance is undeniable.
God and Einstein agree on one thing.
Even on a subatomic level, destiny.
Porchinka takes a naive Anna's hands. Enthralled. Interior Jay and May's bedroom night. Jay at 12 is reading the final page of the book while May at 12 is texting her friends. Mr. Lee peeks into the room. May closes her eyes and snores. Hey.
Oh, don't say good night, Moon. Good night, little mouse. Go to sleep.
Mr. Lee closes the door. Jay reads from the book.
I can't go on. You must go on. I will. Do you think about the end?
Who's May?
I'll do May. The end of everything or the end of your stupid book?
Who keeps saying
Kids
you
are
must?
savage.
They are.
Who keeps saying you must go on?
The song.
May slam shut the book. It's Samuel Beckett's The Unnameable. Interior Orthodox Church Rec Room night. Anna at 12 hits balls around a pool table, making note in her lab book as the ball's trajectories. Porchinka grabs the cue ball just before she strikes it.
I've worked on this for years now. Theotokos, the mother of God, will be a scientist, a physicist.
Of course. What else can make God?
A genius she is today. She lives.
Porchinka grabs Anna's hand.
Where are we? She shall birth our Messiah.
Kingdom come, her will be done.
Porchinka caresses Anna at 12's cheek. Her hand runs down her shoulder, her back. The door opens. It's Kasparov, snarling.
No more.
No,
Go ahead.
I don't remember who I was. I was one of these people. No more tutoring, father.
Porchinka watches as Kasparov yanks Anna away. Interior Anna's home day. Anna at 12 comes home from school. Laptop plays a video of Anna and Kasparov singing a Ukrainian folk song. She smiles.
I'm home.
Anna at 12 turns the corner of the kitchen to find her father face down a pool of blood.
Yeah.
The back of his head bashed. Anna at 12 is just about to scream, but the doorbell rings. She holds it in. She turns in fear.
It's Father Porchenko.
Porchenko opens the door and rushes to Anna.
My God, they got him.
Porchenko grabs checks Kasparov's pulse while eyeing the room.
Putin killed him. We have to get you to a safe place.
He
While
left the
Anna-
Kremlin to go and kill one dude.
Yes. While Anna at 12
Yeah, but
says,
he wasn't thrown out a window, so are we sure it was Putin?
They weren't on the fifth floor. Yeah.
while Anna at 12 stares blankly.
He must have fallen out of a fifth floor window.
Porchenko picks up a bloody white billiard ball near the body.
You hide in the room for sanctuary.
The doorbell rings. Porchenko puts the billiard bar down on the floor surreptitiously.
I'm raising money for a trip to the Large Hadron Collider off screen.
The particle accelerator? Go away.
Porchenko picks up the cue ball again. Exterior Chicago streets day. Porchenko pulls Anna at 12, still in shock, along hurriedly. Interior Orthodox Church day. Porchenko pulls Anna at 12 along through the church. Interior the room beyond time day. Porchenko sits with Anna at 12 on the bed.
If
You
the
are
room's beyond
Theotokos,
time, how can we tell
Mother
it's
of
day?
God.
What?
What was your comment, Danny?
If the room's beyond time, how do we know it's day?
That's anyway.
Yeah, I had to put something there.
It's
Yeah.
a dilemma. You are Theotokos, Mother of God, creator of the creator.
Anna tries to speak, but she cannot.
Physics alone cannot explain how the universe comes from nothing.
Anna stares blankly, but then looks at the door to the room. It is locked from the inside. Porchenko shows her painting of herself at 16.
The answer is.
Oh, wait, I messed that up. I'm sorry.
Like I was in character, man.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I went.
You're
Sorry.
good, Robert.
Whenever I touch the keyboard, bad things happen.
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, I gotta hold on. I lost a lot of pages.
There it is.
There we
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. The answer is you. Oh, Jesus, stop. The answer is you. I knew it when I first saw your future face. You will devour the knowledge of our universe and then feed it to the scientist. Savior, our daughter. Do you believe?
Oh,
I don't-
it's been creepy.
Anna watches the clock. The ticking gets louder. She nods. She kisses her on the cheek.
Oh boy.
He kisses her. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Interior,
It's a
Jay's
priest.
home day. Jay at 12 comes home carrying just
Oh,
one
yeah,
candy
when
bar.
does that ever stop to priest?
Mr. Lee holds a belt in his hand.
Oh, and a candy bar.
Mr. Lee, Asian as
You-
fuck,
You
holding a belt.
Wow. Wow, so much trauma in me right now. Wow.
You
What
know,
you did, Erwin? You ruined her
Ruined
night.
performance.
I'm just in shock, dude. You got a B on your report card. Oh my god.
It was a B plus. I'll do better. I have a responsibility to the family.
Mr. Lee seems disarmed. He sits back down. Interior dive bar night. Splash interior dive bar night years later. All right.
Dive
Split-
bar or a nightclub or both? How can
Both.
we into look?
Yeah.
Well, split
Oh.
screen. All right, well, he's calling a split screen between Jay in the dive bar and Anna in the nightclub. Jay, 23, tall and solidly built, a sadness sometimes haunting his eyes, pulls a comb through his conservative-looking hair. Anna, 23, suicide blonde, fierce, and proud Ukrainian, dances saucily in the flashy nightclub. Youth on the drugs crowd around her. She shoves a young man who gets too close. Jay sets up a pool table at a dive bar. He knocks in ball after ball. There's only the 8 ball left. It looks peculiar. Lorana, 30 and full-figured, offers him a vape pipe.
I say nope to dope.
You're lost, Remy. See you at home.
Lorena walks away. Jay looks down sadly. Anna sees a likable man and approaches him. They dance. Jay examines the 8 ball. On one side it says yes, and on the other side it says no. And between these two words is printed the 8. He puts it down with the 8 facing up. He hits the 8 ball with the cue. It knocks around the corner pocket and rolls out. The ball slows to a stop. No, it says, with the word perfectly facing upward. He banks the 8 ball into a far pocket. He looks down in the pocket. The ball reads yes, the word face up. Anna makes out the likable man in the club bathroom. She forces his head down between her legs. She smiles.
This is John Lamont script.
This is a John Lamont. Fast motion.
My
Jay plays-
influence is rubbing off.
Fast motion.
I'm
Jay
sure that's
plays
not the
eight
only
ball.
thing rubbing off, John.
Into
Well,
holes
I got-
purposely missing, and so forth. It says
Not
no
while the
each
camera's
time
on.
he misses, and yes, each time he knocks the ball into the pocket. Anna walks down 6th Street, preening herself. Anna enters the dive bar, and she walks up to Jay in the split screen.
Hi there.
You're at my table.
This is yours.
Can't you see? It's got my name written all over it.
She takes the pool stick from Jay, bends over, and shoots the 8 ball. The ball misses the pocket. The ball says no.
What's your name?
Does it matter? What are you high on? Can I get some?
Can you get some?
Anna looks him up and down.
You'll do.
Do what?
Anna's distracted by the 8 ball.
Did you write on the 8 ball?
It's your table. Did you write on it?
Anna shoots the 8 ball into a side pocket, looks inside.
It says yes when you make a shot and no when you miss.
Anna laughs.
Fools read into coincidence.
Fast motion, she shoots the ball, missing mostly and making a few. The ball works as stated. The ball sinks into a corner pocket. POV of the ball. Anna and Jay look at it.
Yes.
Yes.
It predicts the past.
Jay grabs the
What?
8 ball. All right, 10 pages. So,
Can we just go ahead and finish the scene? There's just like
No.
all right.
No. Fine.
Fine.
Jay grabs the 8 ball.
But this is wait, this where does this scene?
There's only like this. There's only like
No, it's
five
10
lines
pages
left.
for everybody. Look,
All right.
I submitted a 13-page script. I'm expecting no more than 10 pages to be read. Such is the stream. Come back next week.
All right. Danny's laying down the law.
I mean,
You
we
know,
have been
I
here
liked
for over
it.
2 hours already, too.
Yeah. So I've been reading your work that you've submitted for a while. I feel like your work is improving. I feel like this script, it's better. It's better, in format. I think you're certainly expressing some complicated things, including like split screens, and you're moving through time, and you've got characters aging, and it's all very clear in the words. So good job. The story, I mean, time is interesting. It certainly represents a lot of challenges, but so far we've got some genius 6-year-olds, and because they're moving through time, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they're genius 6-year-olds because they're wise beyond their years, perhaps because they've been moving through time. I don't know, but it's an interesting situation, and certainly authentic to the Asian experience, right, Diane?
Ah, that's it. That's it.
What do you think?
So
Such
much
trauma.
trauma.
All
I'm
right,
reliving it right now.
all right.
So, but yeah, I like it. There it goes to the stereotypes, but there are truth to those stereotypes, unfortunately. And I like it. I think the format's very good. I think the action is going somewhere. There's trying to figure out like is the conflict the grades or them trying to figure out what was on the video? What was that?
I sure hope the conflict isn't the grades. That would be
Yeah, that'd be odd. But still, for me, that would be grades.
okay. The whole movie. How do I change a B to an A?
Yeah,
All right, go
yeah.
through time.
That would
Okay.
be bad.
All right.
And then they wouldn't be satisfied with just an A. I'm gonna have an A plus.
They'd barely be satisfied with an A+, and you know it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. John.
A++ with extra credit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it set up some interesting things. And it's definitely not an easy story concept, I think, to get into. So yeah, definitely you set yourself up for a challenge, and but the characters are interesting, backgrounding is interesting, and how you kind of work everything to get what I'm assuming is our two main characters into a room together within the first 10 pages. I think that was I think that was a good way to go about doing it, because that's something you would need to do. We don't want to spend 30 minutes with these characters before they actually meet if they're our main characters. So we want to get them adults. We want to get them in a room together, and we want to do it within the first 10 pages before the plot gets too crazy. So good on you for that.
Robert.
I really liked the scene, as short as it was, with Prochenko going in and seeing the clock and the juxtaposition against his watch and going in opposite directions. I think that could have been expanded, at least the experience of it, or maybe well, that's more constructive, but I really like that scene. I thought there was some mystery and confusion and understanding all at one time going on, and that was I really like that scene. I'm going to try to steal it somehow, for that multiple confusion and understanding. It's just exciting. There's also, I enjoyed what I really enjoyed was the juxtaposition of how young the kids were and how smart the kids were back and forth, because that knowledge and that level of expertise was as comfortable to them as saying that stupid book. And they didn't have a hierarchy to it. It was all of the same importance. So they were allowed to be youthful and allowed to be, as somebody said, wise beyond their years. So I like that.
Danny.
I mean, I know you've brought us some version of this before, although it's been forever and I don't remember how it's different.
That was probably why it gave me deja vu.
Oh, it's not just a time travel story?
I might have brought in like a comic book version of this, you know.
Yeah,
I don't remember. It sounded very, very familiar when we started reading it. I'm like, I felt like I've watched this movie before, but I can't place it. But if you presented these pages
a time
before,
travel story, John.
That's probably
they all
why.
are discombobulating. So, certainly a lot of things happen. It's really fast paced. It has a bunch of stories. I, as an audience member, am not yet bored.
Well, that's good.
All right. Constructives. Danny.
I don't see how this is particularly different from previous versions, aside from being a film, and you're very successfully introducing whatever the fuck it is you're doing. I've got no idea what that is yet. Which is fine when you're at a pace like this, but you got to get there pretty soon. I'm assuming it's some kind of dimensional romance story, because the big thing you lead to at the end of 10 pages is boy meets girl.
Yeah, the boy meets girl. Yeah, that's definitely a huge turning. You know, that's a pivotal point in.
So it's a rom-com, yay! But like, yeah, none of the other stuff makes any sense yet, and I guess that's fine.
Robert.
I got confused as to where we were because of the time shifting, and I wasn't sure if I should care, because the characters were fairly strong, but that also indicated to me that they didn't change much. So I didn't see much of an arc in their maturing. There was, well, it was just a little bit confusing. I'm not quite sure I understand Danny's point, but it sounds similar to what I'm about to say, is that it was difficult to get behind any of them. And it's weird that the only one I got behind was the kind of the weird priest, if you will. I also felt that the death of the was it Mr. Lee, was kind of out of the blue. Why did the Russians come after him? I didn't understand.
No, it was Anna's father, I think, that was killed out of,
but it was
out of the blue.
Yeah, that was I didn't like. He's dead. Okay. And Porchenko is suddenly there accidentally. it raised a weird question for me, especially in the following scenes where he's, basically accusing Putin and then taking care of her. So the timing of it is it just it's a little messy. Is all I can say for whatever it is you're trying to go to. That goes to Danny's point. Is like, where are we going? So that's it.
Can I ask you a quick question? Did you notice the cue ball was the murder weapon?
Sorry,
No.
what?
Now that you mention it, I did.
Okay, so that was the big clue as to what happened there.
So he was killed with a cue ball.
Yeah. There was a bloody cue ball that Porchenko picks up.
Right, I caught that.
Oh, okay. I did catch that.
But what does that
I
have?
didn't-
That
Yeah,
what does that
but
have
I
to
don't
do with
understand.
anything?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, later on they're playing.
I mean, maybe if you
Billiards.
gave any of your scenes some time to breathe, we would be able to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. Good
Again,
point.
if I
The
okay,
scene
so
was good for a lot of other things.
if I may,
I like the split screen, but the split screen, I'm not sure where they are once they get together. Is it still split and they're doing it like a time thing? I'm not sure when the split screen ended. It was another point. I may have missed it.
It's kind of hard to like catch everything while it's being read out loud. But it said end split screen, and they were both in the dive bar at that moment.
Okay.
Full tape.
so I think okay, so if I may, on the split screen, I think that's a director editor thing. I'm just going to go out on a limb that as a screenwriter, I think you can maybe say it's a split screen, but just do like begin split screen : interior one location, this action, interior the other location, this action, and then just cut back and forth. That way, keeping standardized slugs, and then just do end split screen period.
I would agree.
Because that way it's cleaner when we're reading it. The director and the editor will figure out how they're going to actually put it together. Right?
Well,
Unless. So anyway, that wasn't my main thing. I just wanted to, because it was brought up about the split screen. So I wanted to ask you. So, these two characters, Jay and Anna, they meet, fall in love. Do one or both of them die and then end up like in another dimension or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Something
So,
like that.
and then are we gonna like all of a sudden have them like be reincarnated and meet again in another time or another place?
Well, there will be there are two sets of J's and Annas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess part of the reason where I'm kind of going with that, or what my thought pattern was, and of course, if this may not matter depending on how you visualize the rest of the story, but my thought was maybe we start with Jay and Anna, we meet them, and then maybe we cut from that to the priest discovering the room, and we don't actually show them as kids until after we get to know these characters and we fall in love with these characters. And then maybe around minute 10, your thing happens. And then as we're piecing it together, we're cutting back and forth. I mean, it's a story about time, so fuck with time. So, like, we don't need to see them go from 6 to 12 to adults. Let's start with them at 12, or adults. Let's get to know who they are in the real world, or as they become, and then we can cut back to when they're 12, and then we cut back to when they're 6, and we cut back to present, and then we go to 12 again. Like, play with time. And so, did somebody go back in time and kill her father with the cue ball? Is this where you're going with that when you brought up the cue ball thing?
I think it was pretty clear. I mean, but I think when you're reading
nothing was clear. Cue ball. He was killed with a cue ball. Nothing was clear about who did it except Putin.
Well, Porchenko goes in there. He sits next to the dead body and he picks up the cue ball. Right. He hears Jay.
Porchenko's also blaming Putin for killing him, and then there's a Boy Scout outside selling.
That's
candy
Jay.
bars.
Candy bars.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I caught that. Unless, of course, Unless,
then
of course, you're trying to implicate that Jay is going back in time and killing Anna's father for some reason.
this is too complicated.
That's what I thought happened.
No. So when he hears the knock
I
on
mean,
the door,
I wouldn't have thought anything of the cue ball except for the fact that somebody just cracked his head open with a cue ball because it happened to be lying around.
right. So when he hears a knock on the door, he drops the cue ball.
And
He had it in his hand and he drops it. Yeah, I mean, why would he drop
So
it?
was that the scene where you set up that the cue ball was magic?
but a cue ball is not an 8-ball. The 8-ball is what's magic.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So-
that can't be the same ball then.
So
So why
did
were we supposed to notice that?
Right. That's kind of my whole point. That's why when Ermin started drawing our attention to the cue ball, all of a sudden I'm thinking, did Jay go back in time with the cue ball from the dive bar pool table and murder her father because he was some kind of a bastard to her?
You
I don't
made
know.
that jump. No, you made that
I
jump.
made the
John.
jump because Erwin drawed our attention to the cue ball.
That's right.
I just thought it was a random murder weapon. I mean, like, I knew the cue ball was the murder weapon, but other than that, like, it had no importance to me besides being a murder weapon.
Well, did y'all catch the?
I mean, it could have been a bookend, a beer bottle.
The script was misread a little bit. Porchenko was running his hand down Anna's back, and
Yeah, he was being all kinds of creepy.
yeah, and then her father comes in and says, "No more of this," drags her away, and of course, Porchenko is like staring at them as they go away.
Okay, you if you're trying to imply that
Porchenko killed him, how did he get outside the door? I don't get it. Now I'm really confused.
Well, it was
Okay, well, look, pausing for a second. If you have to keep asking us if we've noticed something, you as the writer have failed to do your job of making us notice it.
Right.
Right.
So here's the thing. The cue ball being the murder weapon, okay, that was obvious because it's covered in blood. We assume hardened object covered in blood next to dead body is murder weapon. What the hell that has to do with the priest, I have no clue. Because was the priest like fondling a cue ball earlier? Was he like, doing like the, cue ball thing with his hand? Like, was this like a thing that he always had?
Well,
we had one pool scene where she was doing mathematical calculations with that.
And a
Did
notebook,
he like and a notebook? Did he steal a cue ball? Did we see him steal it? And why the hell would he steal a cue ball? Like, what the frick is the point? If you're gonna murder somebody if in anger, all right, and you go into a kitchen and you're having a fight with somebody and you're going to murder them in anger, you're not going to get a premeditated cue ball that you took from some bar a week ago. You're going to grab a knife and you're going to stab the fool. I don't know. Like, I don't understand why the cue ball is important.
The death is confusing. That's the upshot of this.
If you want,
confusing.
Yeah. Like, if you want to implicate Porchenko in the murder, okay, then you do something where, like, Anna finds her father stabbed to death on the kitchen floor. Porchenko runs in. This is the first time he's arrived at the scene, but he's got blood on his sleeve, and he notices it, and he covers it up with his suit jacket so that she doesn't see it. Or when he goes to grab her and he notices it, he just reaches in and smudges it against, her father, or some way brushes the body. So that to kind of cover it, like maybe he's got it, he notices it, or maybe she notices. He goes to grab her, and she notices. Why do you have blood on your sleeve? And he says, "Oh, I must have brushed against your father when I was picking you up." And we, as the audience, have clearly noticed he didn't do that when he picked her up. And if we're watching it on streaming, we got to go back 30 seconds and see. Oh, did he really? Like, no, he never came near the body. So he must have got the blood on him from earlier. Why did he lie? He's the murderer. If that's what you're trying to set up, there's a way to do it. Cue ball's confusing. They
were playing pool. He picks up the cue ball while they're playing pool, and he declares something about they declare something silly about destiny, which is not silly to them. And so he actually does handle the cue ball in the previous scene. And I erased a line this afternoon.
If you're doing this cue ball as a MacGuffin thing that's going to be popping up throughout the rest of the movie, okay, fine. But again, then it's not something that the audience is going to notice right here, because all we're going to notice is cue ball's random murder weapon.
Yeah.
Also, if you're doing stuff with a cue ball as a murder weapon, maybe don't spend 5 minutes showing us a magic 8-ball. It's really distracting.
That too.
Well, they're both. I mean, it's There's
It's a magical billiards ball
scene
movie.
here. So what
Is this a movie about magical billiards balls? general.
No, one of them is just a murder
There's
weapon.
just 2 of them. There's just one magical billiards ball and a murder weapon that is a completely different billiards ball.
Right.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Well, but can't they be different things?
They could, I suppose.
Like, a knife or a gun,
mean,
or
Or make them both the same
window.
thing.
Why does he need to die? We don't know why he was killed yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So because Panchenko wanted to do the naughty with 12-year-old Anna, and
That's
Anna's
weird.
father found out.
That's weird.
It's
Anyway.
very sick. I mean,
I mean, I'm assuming based on this scene where he's like, "Oh, you and I are going to be I'm the father and you're the mother of destiny," or some BS. That's where he's going with that. I mean, like, it's 2025. People are used to creepy priests nowadays.
Sure,
It's not
but
going to surprise
also,
anybody.
Honestly, that I didn't even flag that stuff because all the kids are too busy talking about Einstein. I just figured everyone spoke like a weirdo in this movie.
Well, he was weirdo-y, creepily touching her as described in the story, and saying weirdo things about her being the mother and him being the father of some goddess destiny of thing.
the
So-
Messiah. He says our daughter, our daughter, the Messiah. It's
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
it's-
wonder if she actually is his daughter, and that's the
Well,
problem.
no, he implied that she was the mother and he was the father, and that their daughter was the goddess that's going to save all of humanity, or something weird like that.
Now I'm
Again,
really
it just
I'm-
was
I'm
just a
very
little
confused
weird.
now. Yeah,
It was just a little weird, and
I love the time sequence with Prochenko, where the watch is going backwards, the clock's going forwards. I'd like to see more of that dissonance happening.
I would.
Um,
And to build on that, I'd like to see it have an effect.
Yeah,
Does
There
he
you
get
go.
younger if by hanging out in this room where the time is going backwards?
or does
like-
it start to happen in other places?
Well,
You know?
if he hangs out long enough, he can hang out with Ulysses.
All right.
Doesn't end well.
Do we have enough time to look at Danny's script?
I'm gonna go with probably not.
All right.
The good news is there was some revision I was going to make to this based weirdly on audition tapes.
Okay.
So if things go right for me this week, there'll be a slightly different version next week.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is
That's
someone
mysterious.
auditioning for your script?
Sorry,
Is someone auditioning for your story?
I'm story editing for someone else. I'm also working on that movie. So I have permission to share it here because there's been a rather substantial revision, and the main theme, like all of that stuff, there's been so many revisions that the main author just has all of them stuck in her head and just wants outside opinions. And you guys are awesome and deserve nice things. I actually ran this most recent revision and just did that based on some direction from the writer who I'm working for. So it's partially my work, so I'm sharing it.
Okay.
Excellent. That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's being produced. Like, we're shooting in like late June, I think.
Okay, cool. So you want to wait till next time then?
Yeah, because it's really, really late.
It is late. All right.
And so I'll just be
But no,
talking.
let me ask some advice.
Sure.
Do you think I should rewrite the last 2 scenes and then present that, or do you think I should just move to my next part, which I already have written?
I mean, you can rewrite the last 2 scenes and then present it with the first few scenes of your next part.
Well, that would be a lot of that's a lot of pages.
Are,
Let me-
are those
I'll
different
figure it out.
stories, or
Well,
like,
the last 2 scenes are like, well, if it's 10-page selections, right? The last 2 scenes are like what, 4 pages?
You got the boardroom scene, and you've got them entering. The donut scene is good. So you can start with picking up after the donut scene.
Yeah.
All right, and let me do that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you
Pick
can
up
try.
after-
You can work on like some of the contacts and the interplay and see how it
Yeah.
plays.
You can rewrite Uli moving so that you can include all the little sublocation slugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that would
No,
be
that might
cool.
end up adding page time.
I'm
I'm fine with
gonna-
that as long as we know what the hell's going on.
I'll make it a little bit clearer and where they are. It's where you guys got confused about where they were, so I'll fix that.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
easy.
Like,
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Next week.
Bye,
Cool.
Draco. I'm sure you're there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have time for a Draco script.
or maybe he
Yeah.
can show up on stream.
Maybe he could show up. Who knows?
He has sort of shown up before. We know he has the technology.
He does. He can. Yeah. All right. Next week, folks. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Ciao, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.